Ugh, it stinks. It reeks so bad. Lin Bei sat on the ground and retched twice, clamping his nose shut. It took him ages to recover. But once he took in his surroundings, he froze completely. Trash stretched in every direction. Mountains upon mountains of garbage. And he was perched halfway up one such mound. This pile stood at least 30 to 40 meters tall, heaped with countless plastic bags, foam scraps, splinters of broken furniture, and rotting food waste of every kind. Easy. The buzzing of thousands of fly wings closed in on him from all sides, making his scalp prickle with irritation. Countless black shapes circled the murky yellow-gray sky. Crows, dense swarms of them, no fewer than 1,000 at a rough count. A dozen crows scattered across the slope not far away, pecking furiously at something buried in the rubbish with their thick, sturdy beaks. Ugh, damn it. Where the hell am I? A garbage mountain? Lin Bei struggled to stand, but the trash beneath his feet was far too soft to grip. His flip-flops slid uselessly, and he wobbled twice before steadying himself. He glanced down at his own body. Black shorts, a black t-shirt, bare calves smudged all over with grime from the garbage pile. Shit, where even is this place? Am I still in my own country? He remembered crystal clear that he'd been home, blasting the air conditioner and playing video games. Yet in the blink of an eye, he'd been transported here. He stood dumbfounded, unable to process what was happening, when a crisp mechanical voice suddenly echoed inside his head. Ding! A translucent light screen materialized out of thin air right before his eyes, lines of text scrolling across its surface. Global survival game activated. Welcome to the waste dump, Survivor 9191. Current time, 12 o'clock noon sharp. You have been extracted from your original world. Current location, landfill zone No. 91. Survivors remaining in this zone. 10,000 soul rule, stay alive. Lin Bei stared blankly at the words, his mind going utterly numb. I transmigrated. I actually transmigrated? An avid reader of web novels, he knew exactly what transmigration meant. He stood rooted to the spot, staring disbelievingly at the system panel floating before him. The text vanished the next second, and the screen automatically switched to a new interface, the global chat channel. What the hell is this place? Survival in a garbage dump? Stupid system, why couldn't you send me somewhere decent to transmigrate? Is this some sick prank? A hidden camera show? I don't want to take part in this garbage. Ugh, this stench is killing me. I'm gonna throw up. Ha, I transmigrated. I'm the chosen one. The guy above is an idiot. Look at where we are, chosen one my ass. You gonna get stronger eating trash? Soul, where's this damn place? Lousy system, you dragged me here without my consent. Send me back right now, or I'll file a complaint. Chenlin, Elmio, someone's threatening to report the system. Chenlin, you think this is a food delivery app where you can complain about bad service? Soul, hey, watch your tone. This garbage system kidnapped me against my will. I've every right to complain. Chenlin, sure you can complain, but I checked the whole panel. There's no complaint function at all. Soul, what? No complaint button? Are you kidding me? Watching Soul rant endlessly at the system, Lin Bei's tight nerves eased slightly. So I really did transmigrate. And I'm not the only unlucky bastard stuck here. He was lost in thought when a faint rustling noise came from behind him. Scratch, rustle. Soft and brief, like plastic bags crunching under something's weight. Who's there? Lin Bei twisted around to follow the sound. 20 meters away, atop a small mound of trash, sat a rat. But this rat was nothing like any rodent he'd ever seen in his life. It was the size of a full-grown farm dog, nearly a meter long. Its body covered in coarse gray-black fur. Its head was broader and bulkier than an ordinary rat's, its snout jutting forward. 2 rows of yellow fangs bared. Its eyes locked unblinkingly onto him, and its posture was deeply unsettling. Limbs slightly bent, belly dragging across the garbage, it crept forward with excruciating slowness and silence. Just like a cat stalking prey. If it hadn't crunched that plastic bag a moment ago, Lin Bei would never have spotted it. Holy crap, what breed of rat is this? The tension he'd just calmed flared back to a breaking point. The giant rat seemed to realize it had been spotted, yet it did not move, holding its low stalking pose. Man and monster rat stared each other down across 20 meters of rubbish slope for roughly 2 full seconds. Damn it, was it about to ambush me? The thought barely crossed Lin Bei's mind before the rat struck. Its hind legs exploded with power, claws tearing madly at the trash heap. The 20-meter gap shrank to 15, then 10 meters. Shit, it really was gonna attack. Lin Bei's body reacted faster than his brain. Run. Without hesitation, he spun and fled. His flip-flops found zero traction on the soft, shifting garbage. Every step slid like running on loose sand. But fear drowned all rational thought, and he scrambled and tumbled headlong down the trash slope. The rustling behind him drew closer, louder, more frantic by the second. The garbage mountain's terrain was impossibly uneven. Flat ground was nothing but a fantasy. Only jagged mounds, soft rotting waste, and hidden pits lay everywhere. As fate would have it, Lin Bei misstepped, his entire right leg plunging into a sunken trash hollow. Inertia sent him crashing forward face first into the pile of garbage. Ugh! He breathed in the thickest, most putrid stench he'd ever experienced, his face buried deep in rotting kitchen scraps. Worse still, the thunderous patter of the giant rat's paws drew ever nearer. I can't outrun it. Lin Bei forced his face out of the filth and glanced over his shoulder. The rat had halted 7 or 8 meters away. It made no rush to pounce, instead slowing to a deliberate, creeping gait toward him. Its blood-red eyes bored into his figure, jaws parted slightly to reveal a strip of dark red tongue and yellowed sharp fangs. Lin Bei scrambled upright, yanking his leg free of the hollow, glowering fiercely at the beast. You want to eat me? Come and try. Cornered animals fight with everything they have, and right now, Lin Bei was that cornered beast. No escape? Then fight to the death. His breath came in ragged, heavy gasps as he scanned wildly for anything within reach. Plastic bags, foam chunks, tattered rags, all limp, useless junk, worthless as weapons. The rat closed another 2 meters, its disgusting tongue flicking rapidly over its lips, pitch-black claws fully extended. At the height of the crisis, Lin Bei caught sight of something shockingly familiar. A knife hilt, sticking halfway out of the trash mound. Hell yes, a blade. Luck hasn't abandoned me. With this knife, I'll cut this rat down for good. He lunged forward, seized the hilt, and pulled hard, only to stare in stunned disbelief at the weapon he'd drawn. It was a knife, sure, but its blade was caked in rust, barely recognizable beneath the corrosion. Worse yet, 9/10 of the original metal was gone. Rust spread across every inch of steel like a festering skin condition. The cutting edge was jagged with missing chunks, warped and curled like twisted candy. Are you kidding me? This blade was scrap metal, so worthless even junkyards would refuse to take it. Yet it was the only thing he could grab. He had no other choice. Something was better than nothing. Come on then, he roared at the rat. You monster, come get me. The rat paused, tilting its head as if sizing up its prey's sudden burst of defiance. Then its hind legs coiled low, front paws pressed flat, its whole body drawn taut like a fully strung bow, building power to pounce. You want me dead? Then you die with me. In that split second of mortal danger, a voice chimed inside his mind. Ding. Reforging system activated. Host detected holding rusted broken katana. Initiate reforging? Note: 3 reforges available daily. Reforge count resets at 12 o'clock midnight, and used counts do not carry over. Items already reforged, or intact undamaged items, cannot be reforged. A reforging system. Could this be my golden finger? Lin Bei did not hesitate for even a fraction of a second. Reforge it. Reforge this blade right now. A ball of pure white light materialized out of nowhere, wrapping around the rusted scrap of metal. The light orb contracted sharply, then burst in a flash of radiance. When the glow faded, he gripped a flawless, brand new katana, its polished surface mirror bright. At that exact moment, the giant rat launched itself through the air, jaws gaping wide. Rows of yellow fangs aimed straight for his throat. All fear drained from Lin Bei's eyes, replaced by unbridled ferocity. Filthy rat, die. He gripped the hilt with both hands, twisting his waist to generate momentum, and swept the blade horizontally the instant the rat crashed within reach. Squelch. The blade carved a shining arc through the air, slicing the rat clean in two. Its split carcass, trailing innards and dark red blood, flew past Lin Bei's sides and slammed heavily into the garbage mound behind him. Warm gore splattered across his face. He froze mid-swing, gasping for ragged breaths as he clutched the katana tight. One crisis passed, another rose. Flap, flap, flap. Hundreds of crows had landed across the surrounding trash without him noticing, forming a dense ring all around him. Caw, caw, caw. Their black eyes all locked onto the rat's split corpse. Several hopped restlessly in place, letting out short, urgent cries. They were waiting, ready to tear apart the fallen beast's remains. Damn it, these crows are just like vultures. They smelled blood and swarmed over instantly. I need to take this rat carcass with me. It's my hard-earned loot. The thought had barely crossed his mind when the system alert sounded again. Detecting recyclable organic matter. Initiate recovery? Staring at the translucent light screen, Lin Bei hesitated only a heartbeat before selecting yes, without a second thought. Whoosh. A streak of white light shot from the panel, enveloping the rat's body, which vanished into thin air instantly. Recovering, target classified as mutated creature. Removing toxic contaminants. Purification complete. Recovery successful. You have obtained 10 gene of dried rat meat, stored in your inventory for viewing. With the carcass gone, the surrounding crows erupted into a frenzy. They flapped upward, diving madly at every bloodstained scrap of rubbish to peck and tear at the traces of flesh. Lin Bei paid them no mind. He stepped aside and reopened his system panel, its interface clean and organized into several tabs. Global chat, personal inventory, personal stats, trade plaza. He tapped into personal inventory, a grid of empty slots stretching out before him. Only the very first cell held an item. He tapped the slot with his finger. A faint flicker of light, and a slab of dried meat materialized in his palm. To be precise, a densely pressed slab of dark, matte meat glistening with a thin layer of dry oil. It was roughly palm-sized, a finger's width thick, rock-hard to the touch, around 1 gene in weight by feel. He brought it close to his nose. A faint smoky aroma drifted off it. No rot or foul stench whatsoever. It looked like cured bacon hanging from a farmhouse beam for half a year. Unappealing in appearance, but definitely edible. 10 gene total. If rationed carefully, it would easily feed him for 10 full days. This was his first stockpile of supplies in this hellish wasteland. As he walked, he pulled up the system panel once more and switched to the global chat channel. Help! I fell into a hidden trash pit. How do I climb out? Waya, I want to go home. I swear I'll never litter again, ever. Ha guys, I found an axe buried in the trash. Hell yeah, I'm set. Nice one. So jealous. Everyone stay alert. I just ran into a giant mutated cockroach. It attacks people on sight. Scout your surroundings fast. Soul, a giant roach? I hate cockroaches more than anything. Stupid system, send me back. I want to soak in a bath, put on face masks. Shenlin. Humph, go back. Keep dreaming. Damn it, it's barely been any time and loads of people are already dead. The survivor count was 10,000 a minute ago. Now it's down to 9,814. Lin Bei glanced at the gray number at the top of the chat window. Online survivors 9814. It couldn't have been more than 10 minutes since he'd transmigrated, and over 100 people had already lost their lives. Whoa, I just killed a crow. The system popped up a recovery prompt. Turned it in and got a chunk of crow meat. This single message blew up the entire chat channel. Wait, what? Killing crows drops meat? There's a recovery function? Why didn't my panel show this option? Nazana, crow meat? You'd eat something that fed on garbage? That's absolutely revolting. Shenlin, oh look, a lady survivor. But miss, get one thing straight. We're not on Earth anymore. We're stuck in a garbage dump. Nazana, what's wrong with saying how gross it is? It's the truth. Shenlin, sure. Keep that attitude up when your stomach's screaming for food. Nazana, TCH. Nazana, would rather starve to death on this trash heap than take a single bite of crow meat. Holy crap, I found a wooden treasure chest. Opened it and got a full case of instant noodles, 24 packs. A treasure chest? Where did you find it, buddy? Nazana, your profile picture's not too bad. I'll cut you some slack. Split half the noodles with me, and I might consider Chenlan. I might string you up instead. El Mayo, what an absurd demand. You think this is online dating where simps hand you free stuff? Nazana, what's wrong with asking? It's my right to request supplies. What if someone's willing to share? Her comment brought an unusual lull to the chat for several long seconds. Shenlin, unbelievable. Never seen someone this shameless. The guy who found the chest, don't be a fool. At Shenlin, thanks for the heads up. Don't worry, I'm not that dumb. Nazana at Shenlin, what's your problem? Why are you stopping people from giving me supplies? Are you jealous of me? Shenlin, I'm jealous of you. My Lin Bei nearly snickered reading Nazana's outrageous remarks. Though she technically had a point. Asking for supplies was her prerogative, after all. Shenlin and Nazana traded dozens of sniping jabs back and forth, then their messages cut off abruptly. Finally, some peace and quiet. Tell me about it, spamming useless garbage nonstop. Thank God there's a daily message limit. Wait, how do you know there's a message cap? A friend told me. He hit the limit already. 50 free messages a day. After that you pay trash coins for extra. 1 trash coin for 10 messages. Trash coins. What even is that? Some kind of currency. Everyone calm down. I tallied up what everyone's reporting and noticed something critical. We 10,000 survivors aren't all in identical zones. Some are surrounded by mountains of plastic waste. Others are stuck in construction rubble mounds full of broken bricks and concrete chunks. A few people said they're floating atop a thick layer of garbage floating on water. We must have been scattered across different sectors of this same waste dump. Yeah, that's me, stuck in the construction waste zone. Ugh, I wish we could group up. Safety in numbers. Hunting food and water together beats dying alone out here. More people mean more mouths to feed. You got enough supplies to sustain a whole group? For all you know, you'll end up as someone else's meal. Lin Bei was absorbed scrolling through the chat when the ground suddenly gave way beneath his foot. His right sole stepped onto a layer of plastic bags. He instinctively pulled his leg free, his foot came out, but the strap of his right flip-flop snapped with a sharp crack. Lin Bei stared down at the broken sandal dangling off his toe and cursed under his breath. Shit. He tugged the ruined flip-flop off completely and held it up to inspect the damage. These cheap 9 yuan and 90-cent slippers from Pinduoduo have lasted me 2 years. The strap was already fraying, and that one misstep just finished it off for good. The sole's still intact, but without the strap, it can't stay on my feet at all. I need to get myself a proper pair of shoes. Still, until I find new ones, this beat-up flip-flop's got to keep pulling its weight. Lin Bei frowned and thought about refurbishing these slippers, then decided it wasn't worth the trouble. If the refurbish system can restore any item, why waste it on flip-flops when I could fix cloth shoes or something sturdier instead? The strap's broken? No big deal. Lin Bei twisted a plastic bag into a makeshift cord to tide him over for now. Walking through piles of trash wearing flimsy flip-flops was a feeling only those who'd lived through it could understand. Every step sent stabbing pains up his soles. Shards of broken glass, jagged plastic scraps, and countless sharp, unidentified debris pricked straight through the thin sole, leaving his feet throbbing. Worse than the pain was how slow he had to move. These 990 slippers were already 2 years old. They could fall apart completely at any second. So he shuffled along like an elderly woman window shopping, hacking through garbage with his machete to clear a path, only stepping forward once he'd confirmed the ground beneath was safe. Damn it! Grinning his teeth, Lin Bei stepped over a mound of rotting kitchen waste and let out a shaky breath once his left foot landed on a foam board. I have to find some shoes. At this snail's pace, if a mutated rat or any other aberrant creature showed up, the outcome wouldn't be hard to guess. He pressed onward, sweeping his gaze back and forth across the ground. There were shoes scattered all over the junkyard. He'd spotted several pairs just a short walk ahead. The problem was, every single one had a catch. Only one shoe left, trapped under heavy junk, or the wrong size entirely. He finally unearthed a pair, only to discover they were high heels. Lin Bei cursed loudly. Shit. He hurled the heels far away, wiped his palms, and kept searching. There wasn't a single flat stretch of ground in this godforsaken place. Lin Bei was constantly scrambling up and down rubbish heaps. Grime quickly coated his hands and feet, smudges inevitably streaking across his face too. He muttered angry complaints under his breath as he walked, eyes darting non-stop over the garbage. After rummaging for more than an hour, he still hadn't found anything wearable. Staring at his filthy limbs, a thought crossed his mind. Ugh, why don't I feel the slightest disgust digging through trash anymore? Is the system subtly altering my mindset? Or am I just abnormally adaptable? Already used to this hellscape after only an hour? Another 20 minutes passed before his gaze froze abruptly. Half buried between flattened cardboard boxes and tattered rags on a nearby trash slope was a strip of shoe upper. Both shoes lay side by side, their laces knotted tight in an unbreakable bow, like they'd been deliberately tied together before being discarded. Lin Bei hurried over, bent down, and dragged them free. They were ankle boots, or rather, the tattered remains of a pair. The sole on the left boot was worn down to a wafer-thin layer of rubber, with a gaping hole at the heel exposing the interior. The right boot's upper had been corroded by something, its leather pockmarked with countless tiny pits. Any ordinary person would have tossed them aside on sight. But Lin Bei broke into a rare grin. Huh. After over an hour of searching, I finally found a pair that'll work. Beat up was fine. Damaged junk was exactly what he needed right now. Lin Bei set the two boots side by side. He took a deep breath and silently uttered the word refurbish in his head. A ball of white light materialized again, enveloping both boots at once. When the glow faded, Lin Bei's eyes went wide. The tattered old ankle boots were gone, replaced by a brand new matching set. These were no ordinary boots, though. The left boot was a vivid scarlet red, and the right a deep navy blue. The leather was smooth and supple, the soles thick and sturdy. The shaft rose just above the ankle, lined with a ring of silver metal rivets around each cuff. Lin Bei lifted them. They had a satisfying heft, far better quality than any shoes he'd ever worn. At that moment, a system notification popped up. Name, Dual-Tone Chelsea Boots. Enchantress Pro Tier. Green skill. Stomp firmly with the left red boot to activate Scarlet Enchantress power, boosting strength by 20. Stomp firmly with the right blue boot to activate Sapphire Enchantress power, boosting speed by 20. Each buff lasts 3 minutes, with a 6-hour cooldown between uses. Additionally, if another person steps on either boot's upper, they gain a 40 boost to the corresponding stat. A single individual can only trigger this secondary buff once. Description: Chelsea boots altered by an otherworldly power. Their signature red and blue split design makes you the standout of the junkyard once you slip them on. Lin Bei read the notification twice from start to finish. Holy hell, a green tier item with built-in skills. When he'd refurbished the katana last time, the system hadn't displayed any tier stats. This beat-up pair of boots had spawned both a quality rating and a triggered stat boost. Lin Bei squatted on the garbage mound grinning for a full 30 seconds before snapping back to reality. He yanked off his worn flip-flops. You've earned your retirement, old flip-flop. He tossed the broken slippers into his storage inventory without a second thought, then eagerly pulled on the Chelsea boots. Red left, blue right. They fit perfectly, custom-tailored to his feet. Whoa, brand new shoes. They look incredible. Soft leather lined the insoles, creating a barrier between his feet and the grimy trash below. He flexed his ankles. The boots fit snug but not tight, the shaft perfectly supporting his vulnerable ankles. Lin Bei glanced down at his striking Chelsea boots, then swept his eyes over the gray mountains. A jarring sense of dissonance washed over him. These boots were too new, too shiny, completely out of place in this wretched wasteland. He took a few tentative steps. No more sharp scraps pricking his soles. His ankles stabilized with every steady stride. He picked up speed and jogged, weaving nimbly between piles of rubbish, feeling as though he'd gone from crippled to mobile. Lin Bei kept walking, mentally tallying his system uses. He'd already burned 2 refurbished charges today. Per the system rules, he still had 1 remaining. This last refurbished charge has to count. I need to use it for something critical. He pulled up the global chat channel to check on the other players. Guys, anyone found any water? I'm dying of thirst. Hang in there. There's 0 clean water anywhere in this junkyard. If you're that desperate, just imagine bayberries. Quench your thirst with thought. Nice mental trick, but it doesn't fix the root problem. Humans can't survive without actual water. Ma Jechi. Hee, there's water pooling under the trash piles where I am. Only it's pitch black. Anyone want some? Trade food for it. Or click my profile to buy it from my personal shop. Pricing's totally reasonable. Are you kidding me? 1 garbage coin for a bottle of stinking sludge. Total profiteer. You've got more water than anyone here. Why not share for free? Ma Jechi. Profiteer? Handouts? Dude. Are you delirious, or did rotting trash rot your brain? What's in it for me? He's right. All players near the water sources should band together, control the water supply, and sell it at a unified price. Wow, you're trying to form a monopoly? How does that benefit anyone? We were all dragged here against our will. Why not work together to survive? Monopolize water, huh? Anyone who's got crow meat, let's team up too. We'll hoard crow meat and jack up prices. Ma Jechi. I never said anything about a monopoly. Lin Bei licked his parched lips, clicked on Ma Jechi's profile, and opened his shop listing. The vendor had posted 100 bottles. Each was priced at 1 garbage coin. Lin Bei pulled up the item details, revealing a photo. A plastic bottle filled with murky black liquid, dark as soy sauce. A comment sat beneath the image. This garbage isn't water, it's industrial waste. Drinking this would kill you instantly. Ma Jechi replied. Buddy, this is all there is. Take it or leave it. Another user commented. This is more polluted than the Ganges River. Lin Bei closed the shop tab after reading the chatter and sighed heavily. Ugh. He had food, a weapon, and boots, but no water. He'd read online once. Humans can survive 7 days without food, but a maximum of 3 without water. That estimate only held in ideal conditions, though. Not in this sweltering, reeking junkyard. He'd be lucky to last 2 days, let alone 3. I've got to find clean water, no matter what. Lin Bei resolved to source pure drinking water somehow. For the other players, finding clean water amid mountains of garbage might be an impossible task. But Lin Bei still held his unused final refurbished charge. Nothing was out of the question for him. He frowned, brainstorming ways to get water, when movement ahead caught his eye. Something stirred atop a trash heap roughly 30 meters away. Lin Bei froze, tightening his grip on the machete's hilt. He squinted to get a view. It was a flat, dark brown creature rummaging through waste. 6 spindly legs kicked plastic fragments flying as it dug, 2 long thin antennae twitching constantly to scan. A cockroach, a colossal one, even bigger than the specimen described in the chat channel. Damn, how can a roach grow this big eating trash? It's nearly a meter long. Lin Bei stepped back. His Chelsea boot crunched down on a sheet of plastic with a sharp crack. Shit. The roach halted its scavenging the second it heard the noise. Both antennae swiveled straight toward Lin Bei. Fuck, it spotted me. The cockroach slowly rotated its body to face him head-on, an even more nauseating sight than its profile. A flat, hard carapace covered its skull, two glossy eyes embedded. Its jagged mouthparts gnawed open and shut, caked with unidentified gunk scraped from the trash. It didn't lunge or scuttle low like mutated rats. It simply pivoted, its 6 legs moving at a steady pace. It climbed down the rubbish mound and advanced straight for Lin Bei. Watching the massive cockroach close in, Lin Bei's heart hammered wildly in his chest. He'd be lying if he said he wasn't terrified. This was no tiny household roach you could crush underfoot. Its body stretched over a full meter in length. A single bite would spell disaster, but he didn't turn to run. He knew running could only delay the inevitable. Some threats had to be faced head-on eventually. He gripped the machete firmer, his gaze sharp and unflinching. "Stupid roach, you think you can take me? Ask my blade first." Lin Bei drew in a deep breath, the putrid rot-laced air flooding his lungs and sharpening his senses. Then he slammed his left foot hard against the right blue boot. Sapphire Enchantress power, activate. The instant his soul pressed into the blue Chelsea boot, an indescribable lightness surged from his feet all the way through his body. His legs felt freed of an invisible weight, his ankles and knees moving with effortless agility. The giant cockroach continued creeping forward, legs churning at the same slow rhythm, antennae trembling in the air. Lin Bei stared it down, his mind racing to formulate a plan. If he charged head-on now, the roach would likely flee. It was far smaller than him. "I can't strike first. I'll fake retreat to lure it closer, then strike when it's within range." Having settled on his strategy, Lin Bei stepped backward, spun around, and began running. It was a deliberate, stumbling fake retreat. After 7 or 8 awkward paces, he glanced over his shoulder out of the corner of his eye. The cockroach's antennae stiffened mid-twitch. Its 6 legs suddenly churned at a frantic speed, shifting from leisurely creep to full sprint. Lin Bei faced forward again, a faint smirk tugging at his lips. "Humph, typical monster, tiny brains." The scuttle of its legs drew nearer. It was 7 meters, 6 meters, 5 meters. Lin Bei's fingers squeezed the machete hilt white-knuckled. He pushed hard off the trash with his right foot, launching himself toward the roach with explosive speed. The speed boost was no joke. He closed the 5-meter gap in the blink of an eye, appearing directly in front of the cockroach. The roach froze, not from shock. Its primitive nervous system simply couldn't process the sudden reversal of its prey, fleeing straight for it. Lin Bei gave it no time to react. Leveraging the momentum, he swung the katana down. The blade, empowered by his boosted speed, struck dead center on the roach's head. Squelch. Flesh and chitin stood no chance against steel. The cockroach's skull split clean in two. The blade sliced all the way through its head and buried itself deep in the garbage below. Its 6 legs began convulsing violently, thick bodily fluid oozing from the cranial crack to pool. The spasms died out in less than 3 seconds. Lin Bei wrenched the katana free, flicking off viscous fluid and debris from the edge as he gasped for air. He wasn't winded from exertion. It was pure adrenaline. One small misaim and those jagged mandibles would have sunk into his legs. At that moment, the system alert chimed. Detecting recyclable creature remains. Initiate recovery? Call. The crows descended again, swarming in from every direction like sharks drawn to blood. Hundreds of black eyes locked onto the fluid-dripping cockroach corpse. Lin Bei didn't hesitate and confirmed recovery. Recovering, scanning mutated organism, removing hazardous contaminants, recovery complete. Obtained. Cockroach egg ×2, cockroach carapace ×2. Items stored in inventory. Once the process finished, he turned and left immediately. He left behind a raucous chorus of flapping wings and squawking birds fighting over the carcass. After putting some distance between himself and the crows, Lin Bei opened his storage inventory and examined the items. Name, cockroach egg description, nutrient sac rich in protein and moisture. Can replenish water and stamina, or be used to hatch cockroaches. Note, hatching period lasts 7 days. The cockroach egg was a fist-sized translucent sac wrapped in a thin semi-transparent membrane, filled with thick viscous liquid inside. It resembled raw egg white, sloshing with heavy contents when shaken. Name, cockroach carapace description, refined material processed from mutated cockroach exoskeleton by the system. Suitable for crafting armor or tools, boasting moderate flexibility and impact resistance. The item bore little resemblance to a roach's natural outer shell. Instead, it was 2 pre-processed solid slabs. Each slab measured roughly 50 centimeters long, 20 centimeters wide, and 2 centimeters thick. It had a smooth, flat surface and the rigid texture of hard plastic. After reading the item descriptions, Lin Bei couldn't help but complain out loud. Are you kidding me? Cockroach eggs I'm supposed to drink. And these carapaces make armor and tools? Seriously? He shook the thought aside and kept walking, scrolling through the global chat channel once more. The tone of the messages had shifted drastically. Earlier, the feed was flooded with desperate cries for help, complaints about the stench, and pleas to go home. These cheap 9 yuan and 90-cent slippers from Pinduoduo have lasted me 2 years. The strap was already fraying, and that one misstep just finished it off for good. Now panic posts had thinned out, replaced by trades and intel sharing. Trading crow meat for clean water. 3 pieces of meat per bottle. DM me if you've got water. Please. 3 lousy pieces of meat for clean water? You're dreaming. Man, anyone with water holds all the power. I can't even find murky sludge out here. Heads up. I just killed a giant cockroach, and the system gave me 2 eggs when I recycled it. The eggs have liquid inside you can drink. A cockroach? Where'd you find one? I haven't spotted a single one. Right in the trash heaps. Massive, about as big as a wash basin. Be careful fighting them. They snapped my broomstick clean in one bite. Haha, I found a treasure chest. Got a whole crate of mineral water plus 10 garbage coins. A whole crate of bottled water. Hey, can I trade crow meat for some? 10 pieces per bottle. Ma Jechi, hit me up instead, buddy. 10 pieces of meat get you 10 bottles of water from me. At Ma Jechi, you crook. How dare you sell that filthy swill? I'm asking you. Would you even drink that garbage yourself? Ma Jechi, mind my drinking habits or not? I'm asking you, what I'm selling is technically water, isn't it? Damn, there's a massive cave on the trash mountain over here. The entrance is littered with cockroach carcasses. It's utterly horrifying. Something's definitely living inside. Hey everyone, the sun's setting soon. Are you all set for the night? Right. I hadn't even noticed. It's already 3 in the afternoon. Darkness will fall before long. Surviving the night. Lin Bei lifted his head and glanced up at the tawny sky, which had undeniably dimmed since he first arrived. He stood rooted to the spot, his brows drawn tight. He had food, drink, and weapons, yet nowhere to take shelter. I need to find somewhere to spend the night. With a clear goal in mind, Lin Bei kept scanning his surroundings as he trekked onward, searching for viable shelter. At the same time, he checked the other functions of his system. Personal stats: HP, 50-50 strength, 5 speed, 5 spirit, 50-50 constitution, 5 note. Constitution is a comprehensive stat. The higher the value, the greater your tolerance for harsh environments. It lets you breathe fouler air, digest contaminated food, and boosts wound healing speed and infection resistance. HP and spirit follow a 1:10 ratio. Trading platform: the marketplace spans 7 or 8 pages filled with scattered listings, which Lin Bei scrolled through one by one. Weapons made up the bulk of the goods, yet barely a single one was intact. There was a rusted fire axe with 2 dented blade edges, priced at 1 trash coin. A broken half shovel with its wooden handle snapped off, leaving only a steel pipe attached to the shovel head, marked at 7 trash coins. There was also a kitchen cleaver. Food and water listings existed too, with crow meat being the most common. Thousands of vendors sold it, mostly for 1 trash coin per serving. Sales were abysmal, though. Crows swarmed everywhere overhead. Anyone bold enough to hunt them could easily get their hands on meat. Expired canned goods and hardtack were also listed. Judging by the tattered packaging in the photos, they'd been dug straight out of garbage heaps, yet they cost a steep 5 trash coins apiece. Water was an entirely different market. Clean drinking water was almost impossible to find. Whenever a bottle popped up for sale, it went for no less than 10 trash coins. Most listings belonged to players from the black water zones peddling contaminated water. It was cheap, but no one dared buy it. Lin Bei's gaze swept across the listings before freezing. A tent. Someone had posted a tent for sale. The tent in the photo looked battle-ravaged, utterly worn out. Its support poles were intact, and the frame still stood, yet all the fabric covering was gone entirely. The seller listed it for 5 trash coins. Lin Bei's eyes lit up at the sight. This tent might look like worthless junk to others, but he could fully restore it with a single refurbish. After restoration, it would be brand new, and might even gain quality modifiers. As for the 5 trash coin price tag, he had 10 jin of dried rat meat. If he sold part of it, affording the tent would be no trouble. Still, he hesitated to list his rat meat right away. The marketplace was flooded with crow meat vendors. Dried rat meat was slightly better, but not by much. He closed the trading platform and stood, brushing scraps of trash off his trousers. I'll keep moving forward first. Maybe I'll stumble across a tent. If not, I can sell the rat meat later. Slinging his katana over one shoulder, Lin Bei pressed onward. It was still early. At least 4 hours remained until sunset. He didn't want to cheapen the hard-earned dried meat so quickly. As he walked, he scrolled through the global chat channel. Ugh, the construction rubble zone here is nothing but broken stone and concrete slabs. There's zero food anywhere. Danger. The water zones are deadly. The ground is submerged in black toxic water. I just glanced down, and the foam boards are crawling with leeches as long as chopsticks. Leeches? Yeah, and there are crocodiles in the water too, plus swarms of mosquitoes. Crocodiles? That's free protein, isn't it? Are you out of your mind? Those crocs are over 4 meters long, covered in thick armor plating. Do you really think you could kill one? Sigh. The player count dropped again. We're down to 9,231 now. Jesus. Nearly 800 people died in less than a single day? Calm down. Only the unlucky ones perished. Anyone else already have a place to sleep tonight? I built a lean-to out of foam boards and lumber. It's drafty, but at least I don't have to sleep exposed. That's nothing. I dug a burrow straight into the trash mountain in the plastic waste sector. Dig 4 meters deep, then crawl inside. Nice. You really know how to survive. Aren't you choking on the stench burrowing into a garbage pile? It's stuffy in the hole, but breathable. My constitution stat is 6, so I can tolerate it better than most of you. Constitution 6? How'd you raise that? I only have 5. No clue. I used to be a weightlifting champion, so my natural physique's probably stronger. Holy hell, another treasure chest. Hiking boots plus 10 trash coins. These boots even have a quality rating. White tier. White tier. What even is quality tier? Some items have quality grades. I opened a green baseball bat earlier marked green tier that gave +2 strength. I think the tiers go white, green, blue, purple, orange, but I'm not certain. Can you send a photo? I've never seen tiered gear before. Don't get your hopes up. There's no screenshot function at all. Sniff. My feet are ruined. I transmigrated wearing high heels, and after trekking over this terrain all day, I sprained my ankle and my soles are covered in blisters. Could anyone spare a pair of shoes? Any kind. Please, I'm begging you. Buddy above me, you're dreaming. Do you know how valuable a decent pair of shoes is here? A plain pair of sneakers with no stats just sold instantly for 10 trash coins on the marketplace. You think someone will hand them over free just because you beg? For the next 2 hours, Lin Bei kept walking and combing the ground, scanning every mound of trash repeatedly. He found 2 rusted-through metal buckets, a deflated windproof lighter, and a spool of fishing line, but no tent, not even tattered tent scraps. The clock ticked past 6 in the evening. The sky hadn't fully darkened yet, but nightfall was close. Lin Bei halted and let out a long sigh. Ugh, I guess I have to sell my goods cheap to scrape together trash coins. He reopened the trading platform. The worn tent listing was still there, untouched by buyers. Confirming it remained available, Lin Bei switched back to the chat channel and typed a message. Lin Bei, selling dried mutant rat meat, 5 portions, 1 gene each, 2 trash coins per portion. Processed from giant mutated rats, clean and edible. Check my seller booth if interested. 3 minutes after posting, 7 private messages popped up in his inbox. 5 of them were haggling. Will you sell for 1 trash coin each? Can I trade crow meat for it instead? I'll buy 2 portions for 3 trash coins total. You'll make a killing. Cut me a break, man. I only have 1 coin left. 2 coins is too expensive. Crow meat's only 1 coin. Lin Bei frowned and scrolled down, his finger freezing on the 7th message. Ma Jechi. Hey mate, is the meat still available? I'll take all 5 portions. No haggling, no extra small talk. Lin Bei blinked, then replied instinctively. Lin Bei, yep, all here. You're sure you want every portion? Ma Jechi. Ha ha ha, absolutely. 10 trash coins is nothing to me. Since you can take down mutated rats, you've clearly got some real skill. Want to join my Jechi squad? Staring at Ma Jechi's private message, Lin Bei furrowed his brow. Wait a second, didn't he message to buy meat? Why's he recruiting people now? When Ma Jechi received no immediate reply, he sent another message. Ma Jechi, this is just the preliminary screening phase. The squad hasn't officially launched yet. I'm only recruiting people I deem capable to reserve spots first. There'll be a second round of eliminations later. Joining now doesn't guarantee final membership, so there are no strict obligations. Think of it as just reserving a spot. We'll do mutual picks once we officially establish the squad. Lin Bei read the message twice. No binding rules, just a placeholder spot. Mutual selection later. This guy was straightforward, no hidden agendas. Lin Bei. All right, I'll join to reserve a spot. By the way, are you still buying the rat meat? Ma Jechi, of course I am. 10 trash coins is well within my budget. The next second, a system notification popped up. Player Ma Jechi has purchased all 5 portions of dried rat meat. 10 trash coins have been credited to your account. Lin Bei checked his balance. 10 trash coins sat quietly in his marketplace wallet. Trash coins were virtual currency that couldn't be physically withdrawn. They could only be spent on the trading platform. He re-entered the marketplace and pulled up the listing for the beat-up tent priced at 5 coins. Taking a deep breath, he hovered his finger over the purchase button for a split second before tapping it. Purchase successful. 5 trash coins deducted. Item delivered to warehouse. Lin Bei opened his warehouse tab and tapped the newly added icon. A faint flash of light appeared, and the worn tent materialized in his hands. The tent support frame was fully intact, yet that was all that remained of it. He set the tent frame down on a nearby trash heap and inhaled the putrid air deeply. System, refurbish. A sphere of white light engulfed the entire tent, fading away after 3 seconds. The refurbished tent was a dull mottled shade, blending almost seamlessly with the surrounding garbage mounds. Item name, Garbage Camouflage Tent Tier, Green Passive Effect, Concealment, merges into surrounding trash terrain, drastically lowering detection odds from monsters and other players. Effect amplified at night. Description, this tent looks indistinguishable from the waste around it. Inside, your presence registers even weaker than the trash piles themselves. Lin Bei reread the final line of the description and huffed a quiet laugh. Weaker than trash. Fair enough. He stored the tent back in his warehouse and scanned his surroundings. It was time to find a proper campsite for the night. Katana slung over his shoulder, Lin Bei surveyed his location halfway up a trash mountain ringed by rolling piles of waste. I can't camp in a low hollow. I need higher ground. His gaze landed on the tallest trash mound nearby, roughly 40 to 50 meters high with a gentle slope. That's the spot. It took Lin Bei around 20 minutes to climb to the summit. Sweat beaded on his forehead, and the soles of his Chelsea boots were caked in muck and debris. He hunched over to catch his breath, then straightened up to clear a flat platform for the tent. Lifting one foot, he kicked hard at the peak over and over again. Layers of garbage caved in, scraps tumbling down the sloped heap with a clattering rush. After 5 minutes of kicking and stomping, he carved out a 2-meter square flat patch atop the mound. The ground was still soft, but more than enough space for the tent. He retrieved the garbage camouflage tent from storage and tapped to fully deploy it. The tent stood steady on the newly cleared platform, its mottled outer fabric matching the garbage landscape with zero noticeable contrast. Lin Bei stepped back several meters to examine it from 3 or 4 meters away. Without foreknowledge of its location, the tent was nearly invisible at a glance. Not bad. The concealment works perfectly. He unzipped the tent flap and ducked inside. The interior spanned roughly 5 square meters with a 2-meter ceiling, quite spacious for a tent of this type. The floor was split into 2 sections, an integrated inflatable mattress on one side and hardened rubber flooring on the other. The entire inner lining was clean pale gray waterproof canvas, completely isolated from the filth of the junkyard outside. Lin Bei zipped the flap shut from inside and flopped backward onto the air mattress. His body sank into the soft cushion, and every muscle aching from trekking across trash all day. His back, waist, legs relaxed in relief. This is comfortable. He rested for a while, then pushed himself upright on one elbow, licking his cracked, parched lips. He'd hiked all day without proper hydration, leaving thick dry skin coating his lips. Pulling cockroach egg sacks from storage, he pricked a tiny hole in one shell with his blade, tilted his head back, and squeezed the viscous fluid into his mouth. The thick liquid slid down his throat, far less revolting than he'd initially feared. It resembled thick tremella soup with a faint sweet aftertaste, barely any foul odor at all. Not half bad. Satisfied, he took a chunk of dried rat meat from storage, sliced off a thumbnail-sized piece, and chewed it slowly. While eating, he reopened the global chat channel. Dusk's falling. I'm terrified of the dark. Does anyone have a flashlight to sell me? You want to turn on a light after dark? Are you begging for monsters to find you? Besides, this isn't a convenience store. No one's got flashlights to peddle. What am I supposed to do then? Sleep in total darkness? Dig a burrow into a trash mountain and crawl inside. It'll be pitch black, but at least you're safe. Stagnant air's manageable. Our current constitution stack can handle murky air without fatal risk. But garbage burrows are so filthy. I just got this new dress. I can't ruin it. Girl, cleanliness is the last thing you should worry about right now. Focus on surviving tonight first. Does anyone have spare water? Please, even a single sip. I haven't drunk a drop all day, my lips are split open, my throat burns, and I'm lightheaded walking. If you're desperate for water, go find Ma Jechi. He's loaded with the stuff. Exactly. If you posted that message hoping someone will pity you and share water, you'd better give up that thought fast. Hee hee. I found a half-empty bottle of iced black tea, selling cheap for 3 trash coins. Any takers? TCH. Who knows how old that tea is, or if it's even drinkable. 3 coins. You're dreaming. Weird thing happened. I sliced my hand digging a burrow, but the wound closed up completely in under 2 minutes. Constitution definitely speeds healing. Minor injuries aren't anything to panic over. Shit. There's noise outside my burrow entrance. Scrabbling sounds, like something digging through trash. Almost certainly rats or cockroaches. They're nocturnal. They hide away during the day and scavenge after dark. Hee hee. I sealed my burrow entrance tight. They won't get in. After scrolling for over half an hour and finding no useful information, Lin Bei closed the chat channel and lay back down on the air mattress. Finally, a full day of walking. Time to rest. The night was far from quiet, and Lin Bei woke 3 separate times. The first wake-up came from loud, continuous trash scrabbling less than 20 meters away. The scratch of claws tearing through plastic bags was so clear it sent goosebumps crawling over his skin. He held his breath and listened. The noise lasted 2 minutes before fading into the distance. The second and third disturbances were similar scrabbling sounds, just farther off. Each time he tightened his grip on his katana, yet never needed to draw it. 9 o'clock the next morning. Lin Bei rolled over with his eyes shut, let out a long yawn, then sat up rubbing his stomach. He was starving. He'd only consumed 1 cockroach egg sack and a tiny sliver of dried rat meat the previous day, leaving his stomach hollow. He reached for his warehouse to retrieve more egg sacks, then froze mid-motion. A voice echoed nearby, someone screaming, thick with sobs and unbridled terror. Lin Bei frowned and strained to listen carefully. Help me. Is anyone there? Please, somebody save me. At the cry for help, Lin Bei scrambled out of his tent and followed the sound. 50 meters down the sloped trash heap, a woman ran for her life. Her gait was utterly unsteady, stumbling over the soft mounds of garbage. Leaning so far forward, she nearly toppled over, flailing her arms wildly to keep balanced. Her messy hair plastered across her face. She looked barely 20 years old. Her top was torn in multiple places, and she wore only 1 sneaker, her other foot bare. A cockroach was chasing right behind her. This cockroach was roughly the same size as the one Lin Bei had killed yesterday, yet it was in terrible shape. 2 of its 6 legs were broken. The middle leg on its left side was only a mangled stump, while the entire hind leg on its right was gone. It dragged itself forward with its remaining 4 legs, its pace noticeably slower than that of a healthy cockroach. The woman glanced over her shoulder as she ran, only to misstep suddenly. Her knee slammed into the trash pile, sending her sprawling forward onto the muck. She scrambled back to her feet. A huge raw scrape split the skin on her right knee, blood seeping out, but she did not pause for a second and kept running. In her panic, she lifted her head and spotted Lin Bei standing atop the mountain of garbage. In an instant, terror melted into wild elation on her face, as if a drowning person had caught hold of a piece of driftwood. She abruptly changed course and charged straight toward the trash mound where Lin Bei stood. She began scrambling up the pile, clawing at the refuse with both hands and feet. She slid half a step down before hauling herself up again. Help me. Please, save me. The 2-legged cockroach 10 meters behind her swerved as well. It pushed off with its 4 intact limbs and started climbing the garbage hill. It climbed far more steadily than the woman. Even crippled, its 4 legs gripped the trash far better than any humans could. Lin Bei watched the woman scrambling desperately toward him, then glanced at the cockroach closing the distance behind her. Ugh, I'm far too soft-hearted. I can't just stand by and watch someone die. He sighed softly and pulled a katana out of his storage space. By now, the cockroach had climbed halfway up the mound. Gripping the blade tight, Lin Bei charged down from the summit. His Chelsea boots sank deep into the soft layers of trash, leaving a trail of indentations in his wake. The slope lent him speed, and speed lent him power. Leveraging his downward momentum, he dropped his weight the moment he neared the cockroach. The katana swept upward diagonally from below its right side, squelch. The already maimed cockroach did not even have time to snap its mandibles before its head was split clean in 2. Bodily fluids splattered across the trash. Its 4 legs twitched a few times before falling still. Lin Bei flicked the viscous goo off the blade, and a system prompt popped up immediately. Detecting recyclable materials. Recycle now? Recycle. Recycling successful. You have obtained cockroach egg ×2, cockroach carapace ×2. Seeing Lin Bei dispose of the cockroach, the woman dropped onto the trash heap and gasped for air. It took her several seconds to lift her head, her face alight with the raw relief of surviving a brush with death. Thank you. Thank you so much. I thought I was going to die. At the sound of her voice, Lin Bei finally turned to get a proper look at her. One glance was all it took to leave him utterly stunned. There was something hauntingly familiar about this woman. He frowned, racking his brain, then his eyes flew wide. Nazana, isn't this the woman who argued with Chun Lin in the chat channel yesterday? He'd watched their spat yesterday, thinking the woman was nothing short of a self-righteous bleeding heart. Why does he keep staring at me? Nazana noticed Lin Bei's strange expression. She frowned, her gaze sharp as if sizing up a troublesome nuisance. Her heart skipped a beat, but she quickly regained her composure. After 2 years as an internet celebrity on the sweet potato platform, she'd seen every kind of man. Men who stared at her were almost always drawn to her looks. Humph, just another man captivated by my beauty. I'll wrap him around my finger in no time. She brushed her hair back with one hand, wiped the grime off her cheeks with her sleeve, and forced a soft smile onto her face. Her tone turned gentle, laced with just the right hint of demure shyness. Handsome, thank you for saving me. You were so cool back there. May I ask your name? Lin Bei snapped out of his daze. Instead of answering her question, he spoke her name bluntly. Your name's Nazana, isn't it? Nazana's eyes lit up instantly. Not everyone knew her real name. Only close friends, family, and die-hard fans who'd spent over 10,000 yuan gifting her on the sweet potato platform were privy to it. In this godforsaken wasteland, there could only be one explanation. This man was her fan. Oh, you know me. Nazana's tone shifted at once, tinged with excitement. Could you be one of my fans? Lin Bei. Fan. He'd only seen her name and profile picture in yesterday's chat channel. But Nazana gave him no chance to explain. Taking his silence as embarrassment, her grin grew far more confident. Don't be shy. If you're my fan, running into each other here must mean we have fate. Aren't you all always saying in my live streams that you'll protect me and stand by me? Well, here's your chance. Hand over all your food and water quickly. I'm starving and parched. Though I won't eat crow meat, no way. Lin Bei thought he'd misheard her and blurted out in disbelief. What did you just say? Taken aback by his reaction, Nazana tossed her hair to flaunt her features. I'm giving you a chance to prove yourself. If you do well, I might consider being your girlfriend. Lin Bei stared at her self-absorbed face, only one thought running through his mind. Is this woman out of her mind? Nazana, right? Lin Bei's voice flattened, calm and cold. You want food? And you want to be my girlfriend? Do you even deserve it? Answer me, do you? The smile froze on Nazana's face. She'd grown used to calling all the shots on the sweet potato platform. No one had ever spoken to her so bluntly to her face. Her mood soured instantly. She jabbed a finger straight at Lin Bei's nose. What's your problem? I'm offering you a chance to impress me. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. A worthless loser like you. Normally, I wouldn't even spare you a glance. Her words died mid-sentence. Lin Bei's katana rested against her shoulder. Nazana's finger hung suspended in mid-air, her mouth agape, the rest of her speech trapped in her throat. She felt the cold metal against her neck, the sticky residue of cockroach bodily fluids sliding down her collarbone drop by drop. Say one more word, and I'll cut you down right now. Lin Bei's voice was quiet, yet every syllable rang crystal clear in Nazana's ears. Some ridiculous fan my foot. I saved your life, and instead of gratitude, you call me a worthless loser. If I hadn't gone through 9 years of compulsory education and grown up to be a decent person, you'd be dead already. And take a good look around you. No one here will coddle you. Keep acting arrogant, and I won't hesitate to kill you on the spot. The icy blade pressed to her skin cleared Nazana's head at once, not from reason, but from pure, unbridled terror. The chill seeping into her skin stripped away her entitled princess complex in a split second, hammering a brutal truth home. He wasn't bluffing. He really would kill her. I beg you, don't hurt me. Her attitude did a complete 180, a sycophantic smile plastered across her face. Her domineering tone melted into a whimper bordering on coquettish pleading. I was just overexcited. I promise I won't act out again, truly. Lin Bei held her gaze for 2 full seconds, then huffed and pulled his sword away. Humph, you'd better keep that promise. Without another word, he turned and headed back to the summit. Where his tent was pitched, he needed to pack it up. He'd been glad at first to run into another player. More people meant greater strength, and sticking together boosted survival odds. He never imagined he'd cross paths with someone this absurd. He stowed the tent in his storage space, scanned his surroundings, then walked the other way. Behind him, Nazana crouched where she stood, watching his retreating back with lingering fear. He's not one of my brainless fans? Then how does he know my name? As confusion gnawed at her, she suddenly remembered screaming at Chun Lin in the chat channel yesterday, with dozens of others egging them on. Damn Chun Lin. If it weren't for you, he'd never know my name. If I hadn't assumed he was a fan, I never would have spouted all that nonsense. Nazana cursed Chen-Lin 100 times over in her head, brushed trash debris off her clothes, and hurried after Lin Bei. Hey, handsome, wait for me. I was wrong earlier. I apologize. Please don't leave me behind. Lin Bei had only walked a dozen steps down the slope when crinkling footsteps echoed behind him. He glanced over his shoulder to see Nazana trailing after him. She stopped whenever he stopped and followed every time he moved on. Lin Bei drew in a lungful of putrid air and spun around. Nazana stood 5 or 6 meters away, her bare pale legs planted on the trash, arms crossed over her chest, eyes wide with fright. When she saw him turn, she straightened up at once, forcing a pitiful, vulnerable look onto her face. Stop following me, Lin Bei said flatly. Nazana bit her lip, her voice soft and fragile. I won't survive alone out here. Monsters lurk everywhere. I have no weapons, no food. Please don't send me away. She lifted her eyes to meet his, her lids glistening. She might have been crying genuine tears, or just forcing them out. I'll listen to everything you say, I swear. I'll do whatever you ask, just don't abandon me. All I need is a bite to eat. Lin Bei stared at her for several seconds. Aside from her warped mindset, she hadn't truly wronged him enough to warrant killing her. Taking a life was nothing like slicing through a cockroach. He couldn't just strike her down without second thought. He felt no hatred toward her, nor could he bring himself to strike her down. Lin Bei shook his head and kept walking, no longer repeating his order to leave him be. Nazana froze for a beat, then relief washed over her. She quickly scrambled to catch up. As he walked, Lin Bei habitually opened the chat channel. One glance made his brows furrow sharply. The online player counter read a stark number, 8,237. Over 9,000 players had been online yesterday. Nearly 1,000 had died in a single night. So many people died last night. Smart of me to hide deep in the trash mounds. Damn it. I ran into another player, and the bastard tried to kill me. Same here. He lunged straight for my supplies. Thank God I had a weapon. Everyone stay alert. Not all players are friendly. TCH, I met a woman who immediately demanded I protect her. I agreed, but she tried to ambush me. She's tied up now. Oh man, spill the details. Lin Bei scrolled further down, only to catch Nazana gesturing wildly at thin air beside him, muttering nonstop. Nazana. Chen-Lin, just you wait. It's all your fault I embarrassed myself in front of my big shot. That was only the start. Lin Bei saw she'd sent 7 or 8 consecutive messages, all screaming insults at someone named Chen-Lin, every single one mentioning my big shot. Are you kidding me? Lin Bei halted mid-step, his face completely devoid of emotion. Nazana was hunched over, typing another rant into the virtual chat box, murmuring under her breath. Go ahead and mock me. Now I've got someone powerful backing me up. A flash of cold steel suddenly cut into her line of sight. The katana, still coated in cockroach slime, was held horizontally right in front of her. Nazana's fingers froze over the virtual keyboard, and she slowly lifted her head. Lin Bei loomed over her, his gaze far icier. Be big shot. She forced a nervous smile. Could you refrain from dragging me into your empty boasts in the chat channel? Lin Bei spoke slowly, his voice low. Nazana's face went rigid. And Lin Bei cut her off before she could reply. Everyone has a limited number of messages they can send. Waste them on this petty bickering again, and you're no longer allowed to follow me. Nazana's lips trembled, and she nodded frantically. I won't send any more, I promise. Lin Bei sheathed the sword. He shot a glance at her still terrified face. His gaze drifted lower, sweeping over her figure from head to toe. Truth be told, she had a striking curvy frame, hourglass waist, full hips and chest. Even covered in garbage, her figure was impossible to miss. If you insist on sticking with me, Lin Bei slung the katana over one shoulder. You need to pull your weight somehow. Head into the chat channel and see if any fools are willing to fawn over you. Get some food and water out of them by any means. At his words, Nazana blinked, then her eyes lit up. This was her specialty. Ignoring Chen-Lin's stream of insults, her fingers flew across the virtual keyboard. Nazana. Wah, I'm so scared all alone. A cockroach almost ate me yesterday. Is there anyone kind enough to help me? Just a little food? Please take care of me. I can be cute, sultry, sweet, anything you want. Within 3 minutes, multiple friend requests popped through, and her private message inbox flooded with replies. Seeing her fall silent, Lin Bei turned and continued forward. The trash mounds looked identical to yesterday. Endless plastic bags, crumpled foam, rotting food waste stretching all the way to the horizon. The air reeked of the same nauseating blend of rot. Crows circled overhead, and the constant buzz of flies hung in the background. After walking for roughly half an hour, Lin Bei stopped. He'd grown used to the stench, yet one problem lingered unsolved. He had no idea where he was going. The trash expanse stretched on without end, devoid of landmarks, signposts, or maps. He'd picked a random direction yesterday and done the same today, with zero clue of where his path led. He pulled a cockroach egg from his storage, pricked a hole in its shell with his blade, and tilted his head back to squeeze the viscous fluid into his mouth. The thick liquid slid down his throat with a faint familiar sweetness, dulling the burning thirst in his throat. As he drank, he felt a pair of eyes fixed on him. Nazana had crept close without him noticing, standing inches away and staring longingly at the egg in his hand. Her lips were cracked and flaking, her throat bobbing constantly as she swallowed dryly, and her stomach rumbled in a loud, endless chorus. "See, can I have some?" She finally spoke, voice shaky, plastering a desperate, ingratiating smile on her face. "I haven't eaten in an entire day, please." Lin Bei shot her a cold glance, huffed, and turned away to finish the egg fluid. Nazana bit her lip, circled around to stand directly in front of him, and smiled even softer than before. "Just one sip, I beg you. I'll do anything you want if you give me a drink." Her cheeks flushed faintly as she finished speaking, her voice dropping to a whisper. Lin Bei glanced at her again. Normally, a line like that might stir a fleeting flicker of temptation, but not in this wasteland. Until he could fully defend himself, he had no interest in wasting energy on trivial distractions. "You'll only get food if you prove you're worth it." He squeezed the last drop of fluid into his mouth, shaking the nearly empty egg shell. Barely a tenth of its contents remained. "If you bring nothing of value to the table, only whine and flaunt your body, then you might as well resign yourself to starving to death." With that, he tossed the half-empty eggshell straight into Nazana's arms. It bounced off her chest and clattered onto the trash pile. Lin Bei walked on without looking back. Nazana froze for a split second, then dropped to her knees to snatch the shell up. She wiped trash grime off its surface with her sleeve, tilted her head back, and squeezed it as hard as she could, forcing every last drop of residual fluid onto her tongue. The sticky liquid brushed her cracked lips, a single drop falling onto parched earth. She licked her lips greedily, squeezed the shell once more to confirm nothing remained, then tossed the empty husk onto the ground. She lifted her head to watch Lin Bei's receding figure. Her faint glimmer of relief faded, replaced by a tangled mix of emotions, resentment, bitterness, and above all, crippling anxiety. She opened her private messages with the men who'd added her. She'd sent 7 or 8 begging, coquettish pleas. Yet none had offered any food or water. All they'd done was spout empty words of pity and comfort, backing away the second supplies were mentioned. She was no fool. It dawned on her that the tricks that worked flawlessly on the sweet potato platform held no power in this cruel place. Lin Bei's words echoed relentlessly in her mind. "Without value, you die." Nazana clenched her fists, quickening her pace to follow Lin Bei's footprints across the garbage. "I can't die. I have to show him I'm useful." Nazana trailed behind Lin Bei, trudging unevenly over piles of trash as the same thought looped endlessly in her head. Value. I have to prove I have value. But after thinking it over and over, she realized she couldn't do anything. She couldn't fight, didn't dare kill monsters, and couldn't even tell which trash from the garbage heaps was salvageable. The only thing she was good at was acting cute and coquettish online to get men to spend money on her. But that trick had failed just now. Those lecherous men had claimed to feel sorry for her. Yet all of them backed away the second real supplies were mentioned. Could it be, I really have to sell my body? She bit her lip, staring at the back of Lin Bei's head, weighing the thought over and over in her mind. This guy was gruff, but he wasn't bad-looking. What's more, he had a knife, food, and a tent, which were top-tier resources in this junkyard. She herself was quite pretty, with an outstanding figure. After all, hadn't those male fans on the sweet potato platform showered her with gifts purely for her face and body? Lin Bei had no idea what Nazana was scheming. At that moment, he was scrolling through the chat channel. "Water. Does anyone have water? I can't take it anymore. The Constitution stat protects us. Drinking that black muck probably won't kill us. I got injured earlier and my wound never got infected or inflamed. Proof the Constitution value is shielding us. Don't worry, that black water's safe to drink. Yesterday I was dying of thirst and bought 2 bottles. I did a quick filter on them. They just taste awful, like rust mixed with rotten eggs. Drinking too much gives you diarrhea, but it won't kill you." "Filter? What did you use to filter it?" "Hee hee. My socks, of course. Respect. Total respect. Damn it. I can't hold out any longer either. As long as it doesn't kill me, it's fine. At Majechi, I'll buy a bottle of water. Hell yeah, me too. Diarrhea is better than dying of thirst." You don't even have to drink the black sludge, actually. If you kill cockroaches or rats, you can drink their blood to replenish fluids. It just tastes indescribably foul. 666. You can stomach that slimy green blood? Just thinking about it makes me gag. TCH, what's the big deal? Crows eat worse stuff. Why can't I? Besides, people are this close to dying of thirst and still being picky. So pretentious. Lin Bei skimmed the messages and mentally noted one key piece of information. The black water was drinkable, though it caused diarrhea. Players with high constitution stats were already risking the black water, which meant the water shortage had reached a breaking point. Do I have to drink that black gunk too? He frowned, lost in thought, when a sudden shriek rang out behind him. Ah! It was followed by the crinkling of crushed plastic bags and dull thuds as a body tumbled across the trash mounds. Lin Bei stopped and glanced back. Nazana was no longer where she'd stood. A crooked trail marked where she'd rolled down the rubbish slope. The trail stretched all the way from the top to the bottom of the mound. She lay face down amid foam scraps and plastic bags. Her legs twisted awkwardly from the fall, unmoving for a long moment. She must have been distracted while walking, lost her balance, and tumbled all the way down. You dead? Lin Bei stood at the top of the slope, his voice flat and emotionless. Make a sound if you're alive. A string of whimpering groans drifted up from the trash at the bottom, and Nazana struggled to prop herself up on her forearms. Foam crumbs and black grime coated her hair, dark smudges streaked her face, and a fresh cut oozed tiny beads of blood on her knee. She whimpered as she frantically brushed garbage off herself, looking utterly wretched. Seeing she could still move, Lin Bei muttered under his breath, "Tough luck. Rolling that far and still not dead." He then turned and kept walking. Nazana squatted amid the trash at the slope's bottom, staring up at his receding figure. She parted her lips to speak. She'd thought Lin Bei would at least come help her up. After all, wasn't it basic human decency to pull someone up when they fell? But the man atop the slope hadn't spared her a second glance. Wah! She collapsed onto the ground and burst into tears, two pale streaks cutting through the dirt smudges on her cheeks. All men are terrible, no conscience at all. Wah! He wouldn't even help me when I fell. Wah! After sobbing for a while, she noticed Lin Bei's figure was nearly hidden behind a pile of rubbish. Fear instantly overwhelmed her hurt. She scrambled unsteadily to her feet and limped after him. Wait for me. Don't leave me all alone. Lin Bei walked ahead, hearing her cries, but did not turn around. Nazana jogged to catch up, only to trip over something hard sticking out of the trash. She lurched forward and crashed back down onto the garbage heap. Wah! She lay on the ground and lifted her head. Lin Bei kept walking at an unhurried pace, not slowing, not turning back to help her. Tears flooded Nazana's eyes again. Still crying, she glanced back at what had tripped her. It was a metal lump half buried in trash, only half its plastic casing exposed. The casing was caked in oil and mold, but its original pale blue hue was faintly visible beneath several cracks. Scrawled crudely in red paint beside the cracks were three large characters: water filter. Nazana didn't read the words, or rather, she couldn't be bothered to look at them right then. All she knew was this useless hunk of junk had made her trip, leaving her knee burning with pain. Her pent-up frustration and rage finally found an outlet. How dare this worthless piece of trash block my way? She stood and kicked hard at the metal lump. Bang! I'll kick you to pieces. Bang! Bang! Horrible thing. Useless garbage. Take this, take this. Stupid broken water filter. She screamed and sobbed as she kicked, wincing in pain each time her foot slammed against the hard metal shell. But she was too furious to care, landing several more kicks to vent her anger. Lin Bei had walked over 10 meters away, and her intermittent wails and curses drifted to his ears. He initially paid no mind. Nazana cried over nothing. She'd wail for ages over a simple fall, and he couldn't be bothered to deal with her tantrums. But one word from her shouting caught his attention. Stupid water filter. A water filter? Lin Bei spun around sharply. 10 meters away, Nazana stood beside the half-buried object, kicking and cursing it relentlessly. Only its pale blue plastic casing peeked out, coated in grease and black mold. But the three red painted characters were crystal clear: water filter. Lin Bei's eyes lit up instantly. Huh, it's a water filter. Without a second thought, Lin Bei sprinted back toward her. He skidded to a halt in front of Nazana, shoved her roughly away from the metal lump, then knelt and dug through the trash to haul the filter free. Nazana stumbled several steps backward from the push, nearly falling again. Regaining her balance, she stared in confusion as Lin Bei scrabbled at the garbage like he'd found treasure, utterly baffled by his excitement. Big brother, what do you want with this broken scrap? Lin Bei ignored her and heaved the filter fully out of the rubbish. It was far more dilapidated than he'd expected. The plastic casing had aged and turned brittle, flaking off at the lightest touch, and the outlet spout at the bottom was completely rusted shut. The filter cartridge compartment held nothing but an empty cavity. The original filter core had crumbled to dust long ago. Aside from the barely legible red characters on the shell, the device was no better than scrap metal. But to Lin Bei, those 3 words were more than enough. He stored the filter in his system inventory, then glanced at Nozana. She rubbed the shoulder he'd pushed, streaks of tears and trash still smearing her face. A mix of hurt and confusion etched into her features. Mind your own business. Don't ask questions you don't need answers to. At that, Nozana pouted and turned her head away, muttering quietly. TCH, it's just trash he picked up. Does he have to be so secretive about it? Lin Bei paid her no more heed and continued forward. The trash mounds underfoot remained soft and treacherous to walk on. The air still reeked, and crows circled overhead, but his mood had completely shifted. If he refurbished this device, he could endlessly purify the black sludge and have unlimited clean water. More importantly, water was scarce right now. Countless players were desperate enough to buy the undrinkable black muck. If he listed purified water on the trading market, it would sell out instantly. Buy a bottle of black water for 1 trash coin, purify it, then resell it for 5, an entirely risk-free profit. Lin Bei took a deep breath and unconsciously quickened his pace. Nozana limped along behind him, muttering quietly to herself, but he paid her no attention whatsoever. He hadn't used his daily refurbishment charge yet. He needed to find a spot out of sight to fix the filter. After walking another 10 minutes, Lin Bei spotted the perfect place. A large trash pile up ahead would block Nozana's line of sight. Stay right here and don't follow me. I'm going over there to relieve myself. With that, he circled behind the mound in a few quick strides. Hearing he needed privacy, Nozana sensibly stood her ground and didn't move. Lin Bei peeked out to confirm she hadn't followed. He pulled the water filter out of his inventory. System, refurbish this. Whoosh. A burst of white light flared to life, wrapping the entire filter. 3 seconds later the light faded, leaving a fully intact water filter resting neatly on the trash. Item name, Model 91 Water Filter Description. Filters impurities and toxic substances out of sewage to make it safe for drinking. Filter cartridges require regular replacement. Note: if spare cartridges are unavailable, makeshift replacements can be crafted using fine sand, charcoal, and other materials. Though purification efficiency will drop drastically. There was no quality rating, no special bonus effects. But it could filter water. That solved his biggest problem, and he couldn't ask for more. Lin Bei picked up the filter and inspected it thoroughly. The outlet valve twisted smoothly, and the hose connector fit perfectly tight. He set the filter down and leaned against the trash mound to recap everything. Nozana wasn't the sharpest, but she'd been the one to uncover the filter. Luck counted for something, after all. If she hadn't kicked it, the device would still be buried, undiscovered for 100 years. I'll give her a bottle of water later. She found the filter, after all. I can also test it on her, see if the purified water gives anyone diarrhea. Having made up his mind, Lin Bei opened his friend list. He tapped Majiechi's avatar. Lin Bei, I'll buy 5 bottles of water. Once the trade went through, Lin Bei poured all 5 bottles of black sludge into the filter's inlet. The black water lived up to its terrible reputation. The second he twisted off a cap, a pungent stench of rust and rotten eggs burned his nostrils. The liquid was murky as soy sauce, tiny suspended particles coating every inch of the bottle walls. He emptied all 5 bottles into the filter, then held the empty bottles under the outlet. He caught the clean runoff, filling them one after another. Before filling each bottle fully, he rinsed it with a splash of purified water to wash away residual grime. By the time the last drop filtered through, the 500-milliliter mineral water bottle was only half full, wasted on rinsing. Lin Bei screwed the cap tight and lined up the 5 bottles of clean water in front of him. They were clear and transparent, the ridges on the bottle bottoms fully visible through the liquid, genuine clean water. He took a sniff. The rust odor was gone, replaced by a faint scent. It resembled disinfectant, but wasn't quite the same. So subtle you'd never notice it unless you pressed your nose to the bottle. The filter had trapped all contaminants and toxins, though it couldn't fully remove the odd aftertaste. That didn't matter. What counted was it was safe to drink. Stowing the filter away, he grabbed the half-full bottle, weighed it in his hand, and stepped back out from behind the trash mound. Nozana waited where he'd left her. While he was gone, she'd retied her hair and wiped more grime off her face, looking marginally tidier. When she saw Lin Bei return, she stood straight, her gaze automatically darting to the bottle in his hand. Her eyes locked onto it instantly. Lin Bei walked up to her and tossed the half-full bottle straight at her. It spun twice through the air before Nizana scrambled to catch it. She held it up and stared down. Half a bottle of clear water, not the soy black sludge sold on the trading market. Don't say I mistreat you, Lin Bei said flatly. Drink it. Nizana froze, clutching the bottle. She glanced up at Lin Bei, then back down at the water, opening her mouth but unable to say a word. Since yesterday, the only thing she'd eaten had been cockroach eggs. Lin Bei had tossed her out of pity. She'd never imagined he'd voluntarily give her water, and clean water at that. He's giving me water? Where did he get such clear water? Her mind spun. Does he actually have a crush on me? She stole a quick glance at Lin Bei's face, searching for any hint of attraction. No eager smiles, no suggestive looks, not even a spare glance her way. No, there's nothing like that in his eyes. Not a single trace. Unable to figure out his motives, she decided not to overthink it. The water was real, and that was all that mattered. She twisted off the cap, lifted the bottle to her lips, and prepared to chug a big mouthful, then caught the faint, odd odor. It was subtle, but unmistakable, a weird scent halfway between disinfectant and something else. Nizana frowned, remembering his excuse about stepping behind the mound to relieve himself, and whimpered uncertainly. Big brother, what's this smell? This water isn't, is it? Lin Bei kept walking ahead, pausing briefly at her mumbled question. He turned back, staring at her with a deeply exasperated expression. What? You don't want it? No. No. That's not what I meant, Mercedes. Nizana waved her hands frantically and stepped back, her cheeks flushing bright red as her mind jumped to inappropriate conclusions. The brief, awkward interlude over, Lin Bei turned away and continued forward without another word. Wasting time explaining anything to this woman was pointless. He opened the trading market and studied the water prices carefully. Black sludge water cost 1 trash coin per bottle, the most common listing on the platform with over 20,000 bottles up for sale. Most sellers were players near the water zones. The black water was everywhere under their feet, costing nothing more than an empty bottle to collect. Yet few buyers existed. No one wanted to suffer through diarrhea. He scrolled down to listings for filtered water, priced at 3 trash coins a bottle. This liquid was still cloudy, yet far clearer than the black sludge. At minimum, you could see through to the other side of the bottle. Then there were unopened mineral water bottles looted from treasure chests, 10 trash coins each, with fewer than 100 total units listed for sale. Hardly any sales went through at that price. 10 coins for a bottle of water was unaffordable for most players. Lin Bei closed the market and leaned against the trash mound to think for roughly 10 seconds. He held 4 full bottles of clean water, better quality than the murky 3-coin filtered water. Yet it was inferior to the 10-coin treasure chest mineral water. Pricing them at 5 trash coins hit the perfect middle ground, better than the cheap sludge, cheaper than premium mineral water. He would rely on high sales volume to turn a profit, build a reputation first, and raise prices later once demand spiked. He listed all 4 bottles at 5 trash coins apiece, then switched back to the chat channel to type a message. Lin Bei, anyone needing water, check my personal shop listings. Crystal clear purified water at an affordable 5 trash coins per bottle. Limited stock, first come first served. He left the channel open and leaned against the rubbish pile to watch the replies roll in. Less than 2 seconds later, messages flooded in. Holy hell, this water's crystal clear. Just as transparent as mineral water from treasure chests. How'd you filter it, bro? Teach me your trick. 5 trash coins? This clear water only costs 5 coins? I just wasted 3 coins on cloudy muck, and now I'm kicking myself. Super fair price. I'd buy another bottle if I had more coins. Fair my foot, 5 coins is still expensive. I only have 2 coins to my name total. Hey guy above me, unopened mineral water's 10 coins, and this water's nearly the same quality. 5 coins is a steal. Bought 1 bottle. Hope it lives up to the hype. If it gives me diarrhea, I'm leaving a bad review. Lin Bei switched back to the trading panel to check. All 4 bottles had sold out instantly. 20 trash coins sat quietly in his account balance. Not bad. Purified water's clearly in high demand. A faint smile tugged at his lips. His first step to profit was complete. All that remained was to repeat the cycle, buy black sludge water, filter it, list it for sale, and collect the coins. A few more rounds were all he needed to save up his first real startup capital. Not far behind him, Nizana was also watching the chat channel. Her system panel flooded with messages singing high praises for Lin Bei's clean water. Each one stirred a twinge of greed in her heart. While others envied it, she held a bottle in her own hands. She knew that feeling of, I've got something none of you have, all too well. It reminded her of the male fans' wild reactions on the sweet potato platform. So the big shot's name is Lin Bei. On impulse, she tapped open the chat channel's input box and rattled out a line on the virtual keyboard. Chun-Lin, you loser, still stuck drinking murky sewage, huh? I'm sipping pure filtered water right now. Her thumb hovered over the send button. Just as she was about to tap send, a memory hit her. Last time she'd fought with Chun-Lin and shouted in the channel that her boss could slice cockroaches to bits with one strike, only for Lin Bei to press his blade straight to her face. If she ran her mouth off and caused trouble again this time, Lin Bei might really cut her down without a second thought. A shudder ran through her at the mental image. She pulled her finger away from the send button and deleted every single character of her drafted message one by one. I can't make him mad. If he takes his anger out on me over this, I'll be doomed. She shook her head, twisted open the bottle cap, and took a tiny, careful sip straight from the mouth, muttering under her breath so quiet only she could hear. Oomph, such clean water, and Lin Bei only sells it for 5 trash coins. He's practically giving it away to everyone. Lin Bei paid no mind to Nizana behind him. He walked forward a short distance before saying he needed to relieve himself again, ordering her to stay put and not move. 5 minutes later, Lin Bei emerged from behind the garbage piles. The 20 trash coins in his account had turned into 20 bottles of filtered water. 20 bottles make 100 trash coins total. This money-making speed is insane. Lin Bei stared at the 20 bottles for several seconds. He decided to stop trading for now and resume later when he had time. He listed all the filtered water for sale, then pulled up the trade interface to browse the marketplace. Food items came in a chaotic variety. Crow meat cost 1 trash coin per serving. Stock was the highest, yet it sold the slowest. Cockroach meat was also 1 trash coin, but far less plentiful. Cockroaches were much harder to hunt down than crows, after all. Rat meat went for 2 trash coins a serving, with fewer than 100 listings available. One item caught his eye for a full 2 seconds. Fly patties, priced at 1 trash coin each. Damn, can anyone even eat this stuff? He pictured the process of making fly patties and shuddered involuntarily. Ugh, that's revolting. Next came the goods he was actually interested in. Food looted from treasure chests. Bread, 5 trash coins. Bucket instant noodles. 6, self-heating hot pot. 15, watermelon. 20, apples. 8. Man, I used to turn my nose up at all this, but now I'd give anything to have it. Lin Bei licked his lips. He held off on buying anything, scrolling over to the clothing category instead. Most listings were filthy rags pulled straight from the trash heaps, marked at 1 trash coin each, yet nobody bought them. Clean garments could be counted on one hand. The cheapest clean t-shirt cost 10 coins. He didn't bother glancing at the weapon section. It was all worthless junk. Rotten wooden sticks, steel rebars, dented pressure cooker lids. Blades like the katana he carried were nowhere to be seen on the market, though it made sense when he thought about it. Anyone who owned decent gear would keep it for themselves instead of selling it. Take his own katana, for instance. He'd never put it up for sale either. By the time he finished browsing, all his listed water bottles had sold out, depositing 100 trash coins into his account. Now that he had cash to spend, he splurged a little. 2 apples, 2 packs of compressed biscuits, and 1 bottle of cola. The 5 items cost him 45 trash coins in total. The cola was a treasure chest drop, priced at 15 coins, his priciest purchase of the day. He'd trekked across the garbage yard all day long, his soles aching, throat parched, his body caked in unidentifiable grime. He needed a small taste of comfort from the civilized world. After confirming the purchase, the items transferred to his inventory, leaving him with 55 trash coins remaining. Lin Bei found a relatively flat patch of trash, pulled several foam boards he'd picked up along the way out of storage, laid them on the ground, and plopped down. His legs ached terribly. Though his Chelsea boots gripped slippery ground, every sinking step drained his calf muscles. As soon as he sat, he caught sight of Nizana fumbling nearby. She'd pulled something out of her own inventory. It was a worn single-seater sofa. Cracks split the leather upholstery, revealing sponge padding beneath, but the frame stayed intact with all 4 legs still attached. Nizana brushed dust off the sofa and sank into it, heaving a long, relieved sigh. Lin Bei glanced at the sofa beneath her, then at the flimsy foam boards under his own rear. Are you kidding me? A whole sofa. Nizana's got 0 sense. Does she even deserve to sit on that? He stood, walked over to her, and spoke in a firm, unyielding tone. Get up. Let me sit for a bit. Nizana looked up at him, hands clamped tight on the sofa's armrests, her face a mix of grievance and resentment. This is my sofa. I worked so hard to find it. How could you just take it like this? Lin Bei didn't bother arguing. He slowly unfurled his fingers in the air and retrieved an item from his inventory. An apple, bright red and fist-sized, its skin smooth enough to shine, glaringly out of place amid the stinking mountain. Nizana's eyes locked onto the fruit instantly. Her lips parted, and she swallowed hard with a quiet gulp. Back in supermarkets, she'd never spared apples a second glance. Yet now it looked more tempting than anything in the world. She licked her lips and reached out to grab it. Seeing her greedy expression, Lin Bei twisted his wrist, and the apple vanished back into storage. Want it? He stared down at her with a smirk. Nizana nodded frantically. The smile dropped off Lin Bei's face in an instant, and he barked at her. Then get off the sofa. Nizana jolted as if electrocuted, shooting upright off the couch and stepping aside. She plastered a fawning grin on her face and gestured politely for him to take a seat. Lin Bei settled onto the sofa, leaned back against the cushion, and crossed one leg over the other. The sofa was beat up, but not dirty. Nizana had wiped it down beforehand, leaving no obvious grime on the surface. A sofa to sit on was top-tier luxury in this garbage wasteland. He rolled his ankles and said casually, "Ugh, walking all day's left my legs numb. It'd be nice if someone gave me a massage." Nizana froze for a split second before dropping to her knees at once, resting both hands on Lin Bei's calves and kneading them earnestly. As she worked, she glanced up at him with an overly attentive tone. "Boss Lin, how's the pressure? Should I press harder?" Lin Bei said nothing. Leaning back on the sofa, he pulled the apple out again, wiped it on his sleeve, and took a big bite. The flesh crunched crisply between his teeth, juice nearly spilling down his jaw. He quickly sucked it back. Sweet, crisp, fresh. An apple meant nothing special in the normal world, but here it was a luxury item. Nizana kept rubbing his legs, staring longingly as Lin Bei ate the apple. She watched him bite into it again and again. The round fruit shrunk into a crescent, then a tiny sliver, until only a thin core remained. Lin Bei gnawed every last scrap of flesh off the core and tossed it carelessly into the garbage pile behind him. Seeing he hadn't left her even a bite, Nizana paused. She looked up, her eyes glistening with hurt. "Boss Lin, what about mine? Where's my apple?" Lin Bei stood up and wiped leftover fruit juice off his palms onto Nizana's shoulder. Her grimy fabric soaked it up well enough. He then waved a hand and stowed the sofa away. Only after that did he pull a strip of dried rat meat out and toss it to her. "Here, eat this. Don't say I mistreat you." Nizana caught the dried meat and stared down at it. Dry, leathery, like cured pork hanging from a beam for 3 years. She glanced back at the apple core Lin Bei had thrown away, a crushing sense of unfairness washing over her. "I thought you'd give me an apple. Why is it just this tough dried meat? Oh? When did I ever promise you an apple?" Lin Bei turned to face her, grinning teasingly. "If you don't want the rat meat, hand it back." He reached out to take it. Nizana hastily stowed the rat meat in her inventory, moving faster than someone snatching a flash sale item online. The sofa was gone, her massage had been for nothing, and she hadn't tasted a single bite of apple. If she turned down the dried rat meat too, she'd lose everything today, completely ripped off. "I never said I didn't want it." She put on a tough front, but inwardly she berated herself. "I shouldn't have shown off the sofa in the first place. Now the sofa's his. I wasted all that effort massaging his legs, and all I get to eat is this rubbery rat jerky." Lin Bei ignored her. He kept walking forward, reopening the trade marketplace to scan the various goods. He still had 2-item refurbish uses left for the day. He needed to find something worth refurbishing twice before sunset. His current weapons sufficed, and he was satisfied with his Chelsea boots. But his clothes were plain and offered 0 defensive protection. If he could snag a tattered piece of armor cheap from the marketplace to refurbish, it would be perfect. Once Lin Bei walked far enough ahead, Nizana pulled the dried rat meat out of storage. She bit down hard, chewed slowly before swallowing, and muttered through gritted teeth. I'm furious. Making me eat rat meat." The marketplace overflowed with goods, yet barely any caught Lin Bei's eye. Still, he understood why. Only he possessed the refurbish system. Trash that held hidden potential for him was just worthless junk to every other player, so no one bothered collecting such rubbish. "Guess I'll have to splash some cash." He sighed and opened the chat channel, typing out a message. "Lin Bei, buying all kinds of items, no matter their condition. We'll take tattered armor, broken crossbows, wrecked cars, damaged rocket launchers, busted tanks." The channel erupted the second the message posted. "Whoa bro, are you a scrap collector? What even are these things good for? Hey, you buying rusted kitchen knives? If yes, I'll run back and grab the blade that's nothing but a handle now. Scrap buying? That's wild. I've got a busted chainsaw, totally broken beyond repair. You want it? Lin Bei, a chainsaw? Hell yeah, I want it. It's your fault you can't fix it. Sell it to me. I'll give 2 trash coins." "No way, you're actually buying that junk. I've got a rusted iron riot shield falling apart at the seams. You interested?" "Lin Bei, I'll take it. I'll buy anything you're willing to sell, 1 trash coin for the shield. Word spread that Lin Bei was genuinely purchasing scrap, and more players tagged him in the chat. At Lin Bei, how about rusted steel pipes? At Lin Bei, man, rusted steel wire? I've got loads of it. Nazana trailed behind Lin Bei, reading the chat channel too. She stared in confusion at his scrap buying announcement. Why's Lin Bei buying all this rusted garbage? He's got money to waste on trash when he could just buy more food, or even an apple for me. Lin Bei walked for another half an hour before stopping, a faint smile tugging at his lips. Lin Bei, stopping purchases now. Huh, done already? I just dug up a beat-up cutting board hoping the big shot would buy it. Why quit now? Ha ha ha, my broken cutting board got picked up, free trash coin score. That's nothing. He even bought a rubber band that snaps if you tug it. Wonder what he's planning to do with all this. Shame about my rusted pipe. He didn't want it. It's still metal after all. Guy above, he's not a scrap metal dealer. He only picks useful junk. You think he's an idiot? Wait, does anyone else find this weird? What's he even need busted chainsaws, broken shields, rusted pipes for? None of these work as is. Who cares? I made a coin. Let him do whatever he wants. Lin Bei read their messages, each player convinced they'd swindled him out of a bargain. He curled his lip. Humph. You might profit a little, but I never lose out. He opened his inventory and tallied up all the scrap he'd bought. 1 busted chainsaw with a cracked, rusted casing and a saw blade so corroded it barely turned. 1 riot shield, its plexiglass panel crisscrossed with scratches and cracks, the metal frame bent from impacts. 10 rusted steel pipes coated in flaking rust. 1 cracked iron wok with a tiny rusted hole burnt through the bottom. A 2-meter industrial elastic rubber band aged to the point of snapping with a light pull. A 3-meter length of rusted steel wire. The outer layers crumbled to iron dust, but the inner core sections remained usable. Lastly, a moldy solid wood cutting board. Though covered in mildew, the timber itself was intact, rare dense hardwood at that. 7 items total, costing him 15 trash coins. 15 coins wouldn't even buy 2 bottles of clean filtered water on the marketplace. Yet in his hands, he held a pile of items with massive hidden potential. Once refurbished, their value would multiply tenfold or more. Lin Bei pulled his tent out of inventory and tapped 1 key to deploy it fully, anchoring it firmly on a slightly flatter patch of garbage. He unzipped the flap and climbed inside, glancing back at Nazana standing outside. Stay out here. Don't come in. Nazana wiped sweat from her forehead and glanced up at the blazing sun. The midday heat beat down hard, and the garbage piles steamed with sour, putrid fumes that stung her eyes. The tent looked dull and unremarkable, but at least it offered shade. Ugh, is his heart carved from stone? No thought for a woman at all. She bit her lip and seethed silently. Hiding in the tent from the sun while I bake out here. Unbelievable. She didn't dare utter a word of it aloud, keeping all her complaints trapped inside. Lin Bei knew nothing of her grumbling inside the tent, and wouldn't care even if he did. He sat cross-legged on the inflatable mattress and pulled up his system panel. 2 refurbished charges remained for the day. He needed to use them wisely. The chainsaw and riot shield were both top-tier finds, certain to prove invaluable once refurbished. But he didn't start with them. Instead, he pulled out the thick elastic rubber band first. This was no thin hair tie for girls. It was industrial grade, as thick as his pinky finger and nearly 2 meters long. Aged severely, its surface lined with fine cracks that split it into fragments at the slightest tug. But once refurbished, its elasticity would be formidable. System refurbish. A white, glowing orb ignited inside the tent, enveloping the entire rubber band. 2 seconds later the light faded, leaving a flawless jet black rubber band resting on the mattress. Its surface was smooth, crack-free, and yielded toughly when pinched between his fingers. Item name: high-tensile elastic rubber band tier. White description: special industrial rubber band. Boosted elasticity with easier draw resistance. Vastly extended service life. Maximum kinetic energy output: 150 joules. Lin Bei reread the description twice. He had a rough grasp of what 150 joules meant. Average high-quality slingshots only output dozens of joules, barely enough to pierce an aluminum can. 150 joules neared low-powered air rifles, more than enough to punch through wooden planks. A shot to vital areas would deliver lethal force. Best of all, drawing it required minimal effort. He hooked a finger around the band to test the pull. It only took roughly 20 pounds of force to stretch fully. That meant he could draw it all the way with ease and fire repeated shots without tiring his arms quickly. Nice. He toyed with the rubber band for a moment before retrieving the moldy cutting board from storage. Scrape off the mildew, carve it into shape, and it would make the perfect slingshot frame. Next came the rusted steel wire bundle. The outer coils had crumbled completely, but unwound. Several inner strands bore only light surface rust, strong enough to fasten the rubber band to the wooden frame. All parts ready. Time to get to work. Lin Bei drew his katana and began hacking at the wooden chopping board. Dull thuds echoed as the blade bit deep into the timber. Wood shavings sprayed against the tent's inner fabric and bounced back down. He chopped the board down to a roughly workable size, then slowly carved the Y-shaped frame of a slingshot with the tip of his blade. His woodwork was far from refined, yet a slingshot frame needed no fancy finish, only solid structure and a comfortable grip. Once the frame was carved, he cut a 50-centimeter length from a rubber band roll. He set aside the remaining 1.5 meters. The slingshot was merely a stopgap. Crossbows and bows were the true long-range killing tools. He picked up the cut rubber band, then tightly wrapped stripped steel wire around both ends of the wooden frame to fasten it in place. Round after round of wire coiled the wood. He twisted each loop tight with the edge of his katana. When he finished wrapping, he tugged hard at the rubber band to confirm it would not slip free from the frame. Only then was the slingshot complete. The whole process took nearly 2 hours. During this time, Nizana called out to him from outside several times. The first shout came after 30 minutes. "Handsome Lin Bei, what are you doing in there? The sun's blazing out here. Can I come inside too?" No. Her second call arrived an hour later. "Brother Lin Bei, I'm sweltering. Just let me sit inside for a tiny while. Only a moment. No one's forcing you to stay. Leave if you want." Nizana stamped her feet in frustration outside. Leave? Where could she possibly go? This sprawling trash heap was deadly for a woman alone. Without Lin Bei, monsters would tear her apart within half a day. She huffed a few times and dared not pester him further. The sun blazed hotter by the minute. Plastic litter scattered across the garbage softened. The sour, putrid stench thickened in the air. Unable to stand the swelter any longer, Nizana rummaged through nearby piles of trash for something to shield herself from the sun. She pulled out a flimsy palm-sized plastic sheet and waved it back and forth as a makeshift fan. Next, she dragged over a tattered burlap sack, shook off all the debris clinging to it, and draped it over a stack of foam boards to prop up a lopsided, tiny lean-to. The shelter was barely big enough for her to huddle inside alone. She pulled the leftover dried rat meat she'd failed to finish that morning out of her storage inventory, sat beneath the lean-to, and chewed small bites while scrolling the global chat channel to pass the time. Messages flooded the chat nonstop as always. Some players begged for water, others bragged about treasure chests they'd just looted, and a few speculated how many people would die that day. Nizana flicked through the screen, snickering at funny posts and silently thanking her luck for sticking with Lin Bei. Though this man had a heart as hard as stone, at least she never went hungry or thirsty by his side. Just as she was absorbed in scrolling, the tent zipper rasped. Nizana poked her head out of the lean-to at once. Lin Bei stepped out of the tent, clutching an object, a slingshot. It was no childish toy. This was a heavy-duty adult slingshot, rugged and solidly built. Its Y-shaped frame was carved from solid timber, the handle sanded smooth and rounded. Thick steel wire wrapped densely around both band anchor points, giving it an unshakable, sturdy look. "Boss Lin Bei." Nizana's eyes lit up. She scrambled out of the lean-to and crowded close, staring curiously at the slingshot in his hands. "You locked yourself inside for hours just to make some beat-up slingshot." Lin Bei ignored her. He hefted the slingshot in his palm. The handle fit perfectly in his grip, and the rubber band held steady with excellent aim when fully drawn. He hadn't test-fired it yet, but he knew this weapon could cripple a roach instantly with a shot to vital organs within 30 meters. Seeing him preoccupied with the slingshot and ignoring her entirely, Nizana muttered under her breath, "Huh? All that work just for a slingshot?" Lin Bei paid no mind to her odd stare. He stowed the tent in his storage inventory without explanation and turned to walk away. "Humph, you wouldn't understand. This thing's far more valuable than you." Nizana's jaw dropped in shock when she heard that. Lin Bei had actually compared her to this slingshot and claimed the wooden frame and rubber bands meant more to him than she did. How could she accept that? She had a great figure and a pretty face. What did this crude slingshot have over her? She stared at his retreating back, a sudden thought popping into her head. Could he be incapable of intimacy? Why else would he pay no attention to a beautiful woman like her? It made no sense, not a single bit. Lin Bei knew nothing of her thoughts. At that moment, he was privately messaging another player stationed in the construction zone via the chat channel. "Lin Bei, yeah, I need small pebbles from construction sites. Nothing too big or tiny for slingshot ammo. Grab smooth rounded ones if you can. I'll pay 1 trash coin per 100 stones. Send me a handful as samples first. If they work, I'll take 500 matching the sample size. Pansy." Haha, no problem. I'm surrounded by rocks here, rubble everywhere. I'll pick them out right away. Shortly after, Pansy sent 10 pebbles over the trade system. Lin Bei retrieved them from storage and rolled them one by one across his palm to weigh them. Their sizes varied wildly, but 5 were perfectly suited, slightly larger than glass marbles, with ideal heft. Now he had both slingshot and ammo. It was time to test its power. He pulled out the slingshot, nestled one pebble into the leather pouch at the band's end, and locked his gaze on a crow perched atop a nearby trash mound. The bird hunched its head, pecking at something buried in the garbage, completely unaware a man 20 meters away had it lined up in his sights. Lin Bei drew a deep breath, steadying the wooden frame with his left hand and pulling the pouch back. He shut one eye, aligned the top fork of the frame with the crow's torso, and released his grip. Whiz! The pebble flew far too high, sailing past the crow's head more than 10 centimeters above. The crow flapped its wings in alarm. It hopped a few steps sideways, yet it did not fly off, merely shifting to another spot to keep pecking. TCH, even the self-proclaimed slingshot king misses shots sometimes. He loaded another pebble and drew back to aim once more. Whiz! This time the height was correct, but the shot veered left, striking the trash heap a dozen centimeters from the crow's feet. The bird jumped in fright, beating its wings to flit several meters away and land on another pile of waste. It warily scanned its surroundings. Damn it, one more try. Lin Bei loaded a third pebble. Whiz, thud. A dull crack echoed as the stone slammed dead center into the crow's skull, instantly crushing its small head to pulp. A small cloud of blood and black feathers burst through the air. The crow's body did not even twitch once before tumbling off the trash mound. Every other crow in the vicinity took flight at the sudden commotion, swirling overhead in a dark, noisy flock. Lin Bei twirled the slingshot in his hand and nodded in satisfaction. Told you the slingshot king never truly misses. He hadn't pulled the band all the way taut for that shot. Full draw would deliver far greater stopping power. Nazana stood behind him, stunned. She'd been quietly snickering when the first 2 shots went wide, thinking the weapon he'd spent hours crafting was worthless. But the third shot had blown a crow's head apart from over 20 meters away. 20 meters, not 2 or 3. She stood frozen. She was mouth agape, unsure what to say. What are you standing there gawking for? Lin Bei spoke without turning his head. Go retrieve that crow at once. His voice jolted Nazana back to reality, resentment bubbling up on her face. Retrieve it? What do you take me for? Seeing her rooted to the spot, Lin Bei shot her a sharp glance. Did you not hear me? Meeting his gaze, Nazana clenched her fists and gritted her teeth. I'll get it fine. She trudged across the uneven garbage mounds, sinking deep into trash with every step, then grabbed the headless crow and dragged it back. Blood dripped steadily from its neck, coating her palms in sticky gore. She tossed the bird onto the ground. She scrubbed her fingers against the trash to wipe it off. Lin Bei ignored her revulsion as the system alert chimed. Detecting recyclable item, initiate recycling? Without hesitation, he selected confirm. A portion of crow meat was added to his storage inventory. Now that he'd proven the slingshot worked reliably, the rest would be simple. He messaged Pansy to confirm the pebble standard, ordering another 500 matching the sample stones. Pansy replied cheerfully, promising to gather them all within an hour. With his ammo supply secured, Lin Bei set off again. This time, travel doubled as target practice. He picked off crow after crow beside the trash path to hone his accuracy. The first crow, the second, third, fourth. His hit rate climbed steadily. It started at 5 out of 10 shots and rose to 7 or 8 hits per 10 attempts. His wrists and fingers reclaimed old muscle memory. Drawing, aiming, and releasing grew smoother and more fluid. Sometimes he did not even need deliberate aim. He was firing off shots purely by instinct. Nazana became nothing more than a dedicated corpse collector. She shifted from revulsion to numbness, then mindless repetitive labor. Bend down, pick up the bird, toss it back, repeat. Climbing over mounds of trash left her sweating profusely, her clothes stained with crow blood and garbage grime. Yet she dared not complain. She realized Lin Bei was not tormenting her for fun. Every crow she fetched was recycled into edible crow meat via the system. He stashed part of the meat away, and the rest became her rations. After he took down over 20 crows, feathers began dropping alongside crow meat as recycling rewards. Lin Bei had no immediate use for feathers, but he stored all of them in inventory anyway. When his kill count passed 50, the system alert changed. Recycling successful. You have obtained blueprint ×1. A blueprint? Lin Bei opened his storage and tapped the newly appeared item icon. It resembled a parchment scroll printed with a drawing of a handheld fan. Item name: Crow feather fan blueprint tier, common white description. A fan woven from crow plumage. Its breeze delivers effective heat relief. An essential summer cooling tool for the trash heap wasteland. The second his finger touched the blueprint, another system prompt popped up. Consume 10 crow feathers to craft this item. Note: blueprint is single-use and will vanish after crafting. Shame it's a one-time item. He glanced at his feather stock. 50-odd crows had yielded 23 feathers total. He checked the system clock. Noon, 12 o'clock. The sun hung at its zenith, bringing the hottest temperature of the entire day. Damn, this heat is brutal. We'll rest a while before moving on. Making up his mind, Lin Bei submitted 10 feathers through the blueprint crafting interface. Upon confirming production, the blueprint dissolved into a wisp of light, and a brand new feather fan appeared in his storage. He pulled it out. It felt feather-light, its surface woven from dozens of glossy black crow feathers tightly stitched together. Every plume was neatly trimmed and fastened to thin wooden ribs with fine thread. The wooden handle was sanded smooth for a comfortable grip. He clutched it and waved it toward his face. Whoosh! A cool gust washed over him, carrying a faint earthy tang unique to bird plumage, yet undeniably refreshing. It could not compare to air conditioning, but on this sweltering trash wasteland, it was a luxury beyond measure. He toyed with the fan for a moment, then pulled out his tent and deployed it with one tap of the system menu. Nazana, you want it inside the tent? Come in. Nazana stood baking in direct sunlight, fanning herself with that tattered plastic sheet. Her allocated bottle of water had long run dry, leaving her lips cracked and peeling. Lin Bei's words stunned her for a split second before disbelief washed over her. Did I hear that right? He's letting me inside? Could he be? I'll count to 3. If you haven't stepped inside by the 3rd count, you stay out here baking in the sun. Her wandering thoughts were cut short by Lin Bei's flat voice from within the tent. Nazana knew he was not joking. Fine, I'll go in. It's just a tent anyway. It's cramped, but I've stayed inside before. As soon as Nazana ducked into the tent, she plopped down onto the hardened rubber mat without delay. She glanced sideways at Lin Bei, a faint smirk tugging at her lips. He let me in. Does that mean he's finally warmed up to me? Her mind raced through schemes. If things went well, their bond would grow far closer. Later, she could bat her eyes and beg him for extra food and water. He would hardly refuse. This trick had never failed her before. Fulfill a man's desires, then act sweet and coquettish. Every one of her old online fans showered her with gifts without hesitation. With that thought, she twisted her body into what she believed was her most alluring pose, ready to speak. Lin Bei tossed the feather fan straight onto the ground in front of her. Grab this fan and start waving it hard. If you slack off, get back outside into the sun. His gaze remained fixed on empty air as he flicked through the system panel, not sparing Nazana a single glance. Nazana froze completely, mouth hanging open in shock. He let her inside just to wave a fan for him. She spoke up, unwilling to drop the idea. Brother Lin Bei, is fanning really all you need? Are you sure there's nothing else I could do for you? Lin Bei shot her a single glance filled with unmasked, unhesitating disgust. You're craving that sort of thing? Look at how filthy you are. Your hair's matted into clumps, and I can smell your sour body odor from across the tent. Your clothes are caked in grime, utterly revolting to look at. Your smeared makeup makes you look like a ghoul. It turns my stomach just seeing you. After his blunt rant, he looked back to the system interface. Besides, I have no spare mental bandwidth for that nonsense right now. If you're desperate for attention, go find someone else outside. Don't throw yourself at me. Nazana stiffened where she sat. Back before the wasteland, countless men had fawned over her, calling her a goddess. She'd post selfies in tight dresses and never get fewer than 4,000 likes. What had become of all that now? You're so ungrateful. Her voice rose sharply. Do you know how many people used to beg to spend time with me? Her sentence died mid-speech as cold metal flashed. Lin Bei had drawn his katana, the tip pointed straight at her. Say one more word, and you're out. Start fanning or get back in the sun. Staring at the blade inches away, Nazana clamped her mouth shut instantly. Leave the tent. The sun outside baked hot enough to dry human flesh, and her tiny water bottle was long empty. Stepping out meant death. All retorts died in her throat, replaced by a quick, ingratiating smile plastered across her face. Calm down. I'll fan right away, I promise. Lin Bei snorted, stowing the katana back into storage, then flopped onto the inflatable mattress, crossed his legs, and returned to scrolling the chat channel. Better remember your place. No one here will coddle you. Nazana picked the feather fan off the ground, knelt beside the mattress, and began waving it back and forth. Cool air swept over Lin Bei's face, instantly cutting through most of his stifling heat. The crow feather fan had a wide surface, covering most of his torso with every swing, far more comfortable than fanning himself. He savored the breeze while scrolling through player messages. I'm melting. It's got to be 38 degrees out here. I feel like I'm steaming alive. 38? You're underestimating this trash heap. It's at least 40. The garbage underfoot burns like hot radiators when you step on it. Hee hee, I got lucky and found shade under a huge concrete slab. Lying here, not hot at all. Enjoy your sunburns. I'm taking a midday nap. Ugh, I'm dying for water. Filtered water costs 3 trash coins a bottle, total ripoff. The murky black sludge water's too risky to drink. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. Hang in there, buddy. You'll get used to the sludge water eventually. Sip tiny mouthfuls, don't chug it. Lowers your odds of crippling diarrhea. Meanwhile, on the far edge of the trash heap beside a body of water, Majiechi lay submerged in a shallow pit lined with plastic sheeting. The water in the pit was not pitch black. It was lightly filtered murky liquid, the color of repeatedly steeped tea. Cloudy, yes, yet clear enough to see his fingers beneath the surface. He sank his entire body into the water, only his head exposed, wearing a blissful expression as if soaking in a hot spring. He chuckled as wave after wave of heat complaints rolled across the chat channel. Sweltering? Good. If they weren't burning up, they'd never buy water off me. He scrubbed his arms, scraping layers of grime off his skin with his fingernails and letting it dissolve into the pool. Then he grabbed an empty plastic bottle, dipped it into the pit to fill it. He twisted the cap tight and listed it for sale on his personal player market stall. Majiechi, water. Clean, filtered water. 1 trash coin a bottle, selling cheap. Damn, filtered water for just 1 trash coin? That's unbelievably generous. Boss Majiechi is awesome. At Majiechi, could you list more bottles? I want to stock up. This price is a steal. Majiechi, all right. I'm in a good mood today, so I'll put up more for you folks. Sniffles, Boss Majiechi is such a kind soul. Filtered water only costs 1 trash coin. I'm almost moved to tears. Huh, at Majiechi, why does this filtered water taste weird? It's a little salty, with some indescribable aftertaste. It's nowhere near as good as the 5 trash coin water I bought before. It really does taste off, but I can't put my finger on what's wrong. It just feels strange all around. Exactly. Compared to the filtered water Lin Bei sold before, this stuff tastes like foot wash. Instead of cooling me down, it's making me nauseous. Lying in a puddle, Majiechi saw the messages, rolled his eyes, and tapped rapidly on the virtual keyboard. Majiechi, you get what you pay for. Water for 1 trash coin, and you're complaining? This water doesn't judge you for being broke, yet you dare to judge its flavor. Sniffles, that actually makes sense. To make up for my complaints, I'll buy another bottle. At Majiechi, ignore all these nitpickers. Selling at this price is practically charity. Guys, anyone got paper? I need to poop badly. Paper? You really think you can get paper? Just grab some garbage to wipe with. I used a plastic bag yesterday. It's slippery, but gets the job done. Right? Have you forgotten where we are? Paper's a luxury item. If you want some, head to the trade market, 15 trash coins per roll. Do you even have that kind of money? Are you kidding me? Paper's that expensive? Costlier than the lousy water. 15 coins a roll? Is this paper made of gold? Inside the tent, Lin Bei lay back, enjoying the cool breeze fanned by Nizana while scrolling through the chat logs. He froze when he read the thread about the price of toilet paper. The reason was simple. A dull cramp twisted his stomach unpleasantly. He knew that sensation well, not the sharp pain of food poisoning, but the heavy, bloated ache that meant he needed to relieve himself. Lin Bei clutched his stomach and shifted position, his brows knitting tight. Damn it, the urge hit. I've got to buy a roll of paper. Holding his belly, Lin Bei's face scrunched up in agony as the dull ache grew stronger. Shit, I can't hold it any longer. If I wait, things are going to get messy. He quickly pulled up the trade platform and searched for toilet paper. The image showed an ordinary white roll marked at 15 trash coins. Without hesitation, he tapped purchase. 15 coins vanished from his account balance, leaving him with 20 remaining. Ugh, Lin Bei sucked in a sharp breath, clutching his stomach as he sat up. He glanced over at Nizana. Stay right here, don't sneak a peek outside. With that, he zipped open the tent flap and sprinted out, his Chelsea boots crunching across piles of trash as he ran. He found a secluded spot to squat down. Even mid-relief, he didn't forget to grab his water filter. Business couldn't stop just because he needed the bathroom. He pulled up the trade platform, bought jugs of black wastewater while handling his business, and poured each bottle one after another into the filter's inlet. Black wastewater gurgled inside. The outlet stayed silent for 2 or 3 seconds before a thin stream of clean water trickled out. Once he'd filled 20 bottles of purified water, he skipped posting in the chat channel and listed them straight on the marketplace, still priced at 5 trash coins a bottle. In a market where murky water sold for 3 coins and mineral water for 10, his clean water was a total game changer. The second the listing went live, someone alerted the chat channel. Holy crap, the cheap, clean 5 trash coin water's back in stock. Only 20 bottles, snag yours fast. 5 coins a bottle? That's pricey. Boss Ma Jechi's selling water for just 1 coin. TCH, that foot wash can't compare to this. Look how crystal clear this water is, just like bottled mineral water looted from treasure chests. Quit chatting. 8 bottles are already gone. Keep talking, and there'll be none left. Haha. I grabbed the last bottle. Wow, that was fast. All 20 gone in seconds? Are you guys using auto by scripts or something? Sniffles, why only 20 bottles? Boss, please list more. I'm dying of thirst. Squatting on the trash, Lin Bei smirked at the messages. In under 10 seconds, 100 trash coins hit his account. Keep going. For the next stretch, he continued buying black wastewater through the marketplace while attending to his needs. Pour, filter, list, sell, repeat. Every batch was 20 bottles minimum. His balance climbed from 100 to 150, then 200, then 250. 15 minutes later, his balance hit 500 coins. Not bad. 500 trash coins will hold me over. Though all his water had sold out, Lin Bei noticed a problem. The filter's water flow had slowed down, and the water coming out wasn't nearly as clear as before. A strange, faint odor grew much stronger when he sniffed it. He paused and stared at the translucent filter cartridge compartment on the machine's exterior. The white filter media inside had turned grimy black, with thick layers of grime caked between the filtration layers. This filter cartridge won't last much longer. He patted the dirt off his pants, stood up, and stretched his legs, numb from squatting, then headed back toward the tent. When he unzipped the tent flap and stepped inside, the first thing he saw was a pair of long legs. Then her curvy hips. Nazana lay on her side on the ground, one hand propped under her head, the other lazily waving a feather fan back and forth to cool herself. She looked as laid back as a homebody sprawled on their own couch. Nazana sat bolt upright the second she noticed Lin Bei return. She clutched her stomach, her face twisting with a mix of pain and embarrassment. Her cheeks flushed faintly, and her lips parted. Boss Lin Bei, do you have any paper? My stomach hurts. I need to use the restroom. Lin Bei had just sold 100 bottles of water and was in a good mood, so he didn't fuss over her request. He reached into his storage, pulled out the roll of toilet paper, tore off 6 squares, and handed them over. Nazana took the paper with both hands and counted silently. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 squares. Her face twisted like she'd swallowed a bug. She lifted her head, words on the tip of her tongue. But staring at the pitiful handful of paper in her grasp, she couldn't hold back. Boss Lin Bei, this isn't nearly enough. Her voice shrank smaller and smaller. I usually need 20 squares. Excuse me. Lin Bei thought he'd misheard, repeating the question in disbelief. 20 squares, Nazana restated, as if the number were completely reasonable. Lin Bei's eyes went wide. 20 squares. He'd only used 10 total earlier. 2 of those had even been for wiping sweat off his face. This woman used twice as much paper for 1 trip to the bathroom? You used 20 squares of toilet paper for 1 bathroom break. Are you messing with me? Nazana flinched at his raised voice, but tried to defend herself. 20's, barely anything. Back home I'd always. Stop. Lin Bei cut her off, clearly not wanting to hear the rest. I don't need the details. 10 squares is all I can spare. If 10 isn't enough, grab a plastic bag to wipe with. He tore 4 more squares off the roll and tossed them in front of Nazana. Nazana opened her mouth to argue, but met Lin Bei's unamused gaze and wisely fell silent. Oh, okay. She picked up the toilet paper, hunched over clutching her stomach, unzipped the tent flap, and scurried outside. Lin Bei picked up the fallen feather fan, laid back on the inflatable mattress, propped his legs up, fanned himself, and opened the trade platform again. I've got money now, time to splurge a little. He browsed for roughly 3 minutes, about to place an order for a set of clean clothes, when a shrill scream cut through the air outside the tent. I'll help. Boss Lin Bei. Cockroaches. Giant cockroaches, come save me. It was Nazana's voice, coming from a spot a little left and behind the tent, less than 100 meters away. Lin Bei didn't hesitate. He tossed the fan onto the mattress, drew a katana out of his storage with his right hand, and bolted outside. His Chelsea boots crunched heavily over trash piles as he sprinted toward the sound. After climbing over a small mound of garbage, he spotted Nazana. She ran straight toward him in a panic, her terrified expression plain to see even dozens of meters away. 3 cockroaches chased close behind her. All three were small, only basin-sized. Ordinarily, you could crush them underfoot without effort. But Nizana had zero combat ability, which explained why she was fleeing from just 3 of them. Linbei took a deep breath and tightened his grip on the katana's hilt. Ugh, this idiot ran all the way out there just to pee. Not only did she wander far, she lured 3 cockroaches back with her. Linbei stood atop the trash mound. No need to charge down with his blade drawn. He pulled a slingshot out of his storage, steadied the frame in his left hand, and tucked a stone pellet into the leather pouch with his right. He pulled back the elastic, aimed, and fired. Zip thud. The stone struck the cockroach's head shell dead center. A dull crack echoed as the carapace split open, the pellet embedded deep inside its skull. The cockroach twitched violently, then collapsed motionless onto the trash heap. Linbei didn't pause, loading a second stone into the pouch immediately. Draw, aim, release, zip, thud. The second cockroach took a blow to the side of its head, followed by the third. Thud. In less than 10 seconds, all 3 basin-sized cockroaches lay dead. Nizana scrambled up the trash mound and hid behind Linbei, shaking like a leaf. Her chest heaved wildly, lips pale, as she peeked past him down the slope. The 3 cockroach corpses lay still, one's legs twitching faintly. She swallowed hard, then sank onto the ground, tears spilling down her cheeks. Sniffles, Boss Linbei. Thank God you were here, otherwise I would've. Linbei ignored her rambling and strode down the trash slope to the 3 cockroach bodies. Recycling successful. You've obtained cockroach meat times 3. After collecting the loot, Linbei walked over to Nizana. Quit crying. They're just 3 cockroaches, nothing to fear. Next time you run into them, I don't want to see you losing your mind. You need to learn to. He was cut off mid-sentence when Nizana grabbed his wrist. Boss Linbei, we need to leave fast. Over there, there's a cockroach nest. They're swarming inside, at least a dozen of them. These 3 must have been out foraging and stumbled across me. We have to go before they notice us. A dozen cockroaches? Linbei's first instinct was to turn and run. A swarm that size charging together would spell disaster. But he froze a split second later. Run? Why would he run? He had a slingshot, plus a tent he could hide inside. His 3 perfect shots just proved the slingshot's deadly power within 30 meters. All he needed was a safe high vantage point. He could hide inside the tent and pick them off one by one from a distance. No close quarters danger, no unnecessary risk. Just wear them down slowly from afar. This supposed death trap of a cockroach nest? It was nothing but a monster spawner churning out resources. A smirk tugged at his lips as he turned to Nizana. Stay right here and don't move. I'll go retrieve the tent, then you show me where this nest is. I want to check it out. Nizana stared at him in shock, shaking her head frantically. No, boss, it's extremely dangerous over there. We need to get away right now. I'm not lying. I only glanced into the entrance and saw 7 or 8. There's definitely more inside. Let's go quickly. Enough talking. Wait for me here. Boss Linbei. Nizana reached for his hand, but Linbei had already turned and jogged away. When he returned, slingshot in hand, his eyes lit up with excitement. Lead the way. Nizana stood frozen, staring at Linbei's relaxed, unafraid expression. There was no recklessness, no overconfidence, just calm ease. She bit her lip, stamped her foot, and turned to head back the way she'd fled. The 2 walked single file across the trash wasteland. Nizana stepped as lightly as possible to stay quiet, glancing back every few paces. After walking roughly 100 meters, she halted, crouched behind a foam board, and pointed toward a trash mound 50 meters ahead. That's it. After I finished my business, I spotted a sofa over there I wanted to grab, but I didn't expect there'd be a nest. Linbei followed her line of sight. The trash mound stood around 20 meters tall, with a pitch-black cave mouth halfway up its slope, roughly a meter wide. Trash around the entrance was flattened and packed tight from constant trampling, and strangely, no crows circled nearby. Boss Linbei, you've seen it now. Let's leave at once, Nizana whispered, her voice thick with pleading. Linbei stared at the cave entrance, a dismissive smirk spreading across his face. Leave? Are you joking? Stay put and don't move an inch. With that, he crept toward the cockroach nest. Nizana stretched out to grab him, only brushing the hem of his jacket before he pulled free. She stayed crouched, watching Linbei's figure slowly draw closer to the trash mound, her heart pounding with anxiety. Ugh, it's so dangerous over there. Why does he have to go instead of running away with me? She muttered so quietly only she could hear, but her feet stayed rooted to the spot. Linbei told her to wait, so she would wait. She knew tagging along would only get in his way, unable to offer any help. Watching his retreating back, she prayed silently, please don't get hurt, otherwise Lin Bei bypassed the nest entrance entirely, circling around to climb the peak of another trash pile. It was roughly 30 meters away. 30 meters was a perfectly safe distance. His slingshot held steady aim and full stopping power at that range. Even if the cockroaches spotted him, they'd take time to crawl over, leaving him plenty of time to reposition. He set up the tent, unzipping a narrow firing slit, then pulled 10 portions of crow meat out of his storage. Stupid roaches, wake up, time for a feast. He thought the jab to himself before hurling the crow meat onto a flat stretch of ground. He dropped to the ground, lined up several stone pellets beside him, gripped his slingshot, and waited for the cockroaches to emerge. Around 5 minutes later, something stirred in the darkness of the cave. 2 thin antennae poked out first, waving through the air. Then a dark brown flattened head peeked cautiously over the entrance. A cockroach nearly a meter long paused at the cave mouth, twisting its head left and right, antennae swirling through the air. The wind carried the scent of fresh crow meat, and it caught the trace. The cockroach crawled out, 6 legs scuttling in tandem, heading straight for the pile of crow meat. Lin Bei's lips curled upward when he saw the trap work. Finally came out after all that waiting. He drew back the slingshot, locking the crosshairs on its head. Zip thud. The moment the stone hit its skull, the sharp crack of splintering carapace carried clearly over the trash. A gaping hole burst open on the cockroach's head, the pellet wedged amid broken shell fragments. Its body lurched violently to one side. All 6 legs lost coordination, sending the creature spinning uselessly in place as its claws scrabbled at the garbage. Damn, it's still alive? Lin Bei muttered, loading a second stone into the pouch, drawing, aiming, releasing. Zip thud. This shot pierced straight through. The cockroach's body stiffened abruptly, legs kicking once before falling completely still. Lin Bei stayed low inside the tent, knowing what would happen next. Sure enough, more antennae emerged from the dark cave. 3 this time. They caught the smell of crow meat and fluid. The 3 cockroaches crawled out one after another. Instead of heading for the meat, they swarmed the corpse of their fallen kin. Their mandibles opened and closed as they hunched down to feed on the body. Lin Bei waited until all 3 were fully distracted. He drew his slingshot once more. Zip thud. The stone struck true, blowing another cockroach's head apart, its body collapsing beside the first corpse. The remaining 2 lifted their heads to scan the surroundings, antennae twitching, yet found nothing amiss. They glanced at their newly dead nestmate, then lowered their heads and went back to feeding. Lin Bei repeated the same cycle after that. Every time he took down a cockroach, he ducked low, waiting for the rest to resume gorging before striking again. The cockroaches possessed no instinct for ambush whatsoever. To them, food laid right before their eyes, and dead kin made extra sustenance. This mindless reflex turned them into sitting ducks when hunted by a thinking, calculating predator. Zip squelch, zip squelch, zip squelch. As the metallic, rotten stench thickened, more and more cockroaches poured out of the burrow. Not a single one spared Lin Bei a glance. All were drawn to the ever-growing pile of their dead kin spread across the ground. One after another, they joined this fatal feast. Nazana crouched far off, barely daring to breathe. Her fingers trembled nonstop for the first few minutes. Every time the slingshot twanged, she squeezed her eyes shut, terrified of seeing Lin Bei swarmed by the monsters. Yet when she peeked open her eyes, she froze. I can't believe it. Then came the second, third, 5th kill. Her expression shifted from raw fear to stunned disbelief, then to wild excitement. Her hands balled into fists against her chest, a thought growing clearer by the second. This powerful ally, she had to cling to him no matter what, even if he scolded her every single day. Her gaze drifted back to Lin Bei's back. Most of the terror in her eyes faded, replaced by unshakable resolve. Nearly 2 hours slipped by. The flat stretch beneath the cockroach nest was carpeted with carcasses, at least 50 or 60 by a rough count. Shattered shell fragments littered the trash mounds. Green bodily fluid seeped into every crevice, and the air reeked with an acrid, choking rot. Several crows had landed on nearby garbage heaps without anyone noticing, yet they dared not draw near, as if intimidated by something unseen. Lin Bei waited 10 minutes inside his makeshift tent. Seeing no more cockroaches crawl out, he fired 3 stones straight into the opening. The pebbles clanged against hard chitin deep underground, followed by total silence. No movement. Could they all be dead? He stowed the slingshot, pulled his katana out of his inventory, and stood to trudge downhill. The sickly stench grew heavier with every step. Even after growing desensitized to all manner of foul odors in this dump, he still clamped a hand over his nose once he reached the mound of corpses. He stepped up to the nearest dead cockroach, and the system prompt popped into view. Detecting recyclable material. Initiate recovery? Recover. Recovery successful. Obtained. Cockroach meat ×1, cockroach shell ×3. Recovery successful by the time he finished circling the pile and returned to his starting spot. Nizana came sprinting over, gasping for breath. Sweat streaked her cheeks, and her eyes blazed with near worshipful exhilaration. Lord Linbei, you're absolutely incredible. You took out so many cockroaches all by yourself. The second she reached him, she fawned relentlessly, speaking twice as fast as usual. Lord Linbei, are your arms sore? Should I massage them for you? Are you overheating? Let me fan you. Linbei ignored her, busy checking his haul inside the system inventory. Cockroach meat ×24, cockroach shell ×66, cockroach egg ×66, cockroach venom ×3, blueprint ×1. Item name, cockroach venom description, concentrated fluid refined from mutant cockroaches. Consuming it boosts constitution stat by 1 point for 10 full minutes. Note, while active, your tolerance to harsh environments and wound recovery speed are both significantly increased. Item name, cockroach carapace armor crafting blueprint tier, green description, protective armor forged from cockroach shells, covering the chest, forearms, and thighs. Set bonus ability, spend 10 HP to deploy 6 retractable razor claws mounted on the back. The claws can slash enemies within melee range, or drag against the ground to boost movement speed for chasing foes or fleeing combat. Effect lasts 30 minutes with no cooldown. You may reactivate it by expending HP once the duration ends. Crafting materials required. Cockroach shell ×30 note. This blueprint is a one-time consumable. Linbei read the full description twice from start to finish. Fantastic loot. All of this is invaluable. A single point of constitution from the venom sounded modest, but the secondary effect made it priceless. Heightened environmental resistance and accelerated healing, functioning as a potent recovery serum. As for the cockroach armor, its value spoke for itself. Once crafted, he would no longer fight unarmored. Facing future mutated beasts, he could battle boldly without hesitation out of fear of injury. Without a moment's delay, Linbei tapped the craft button. 30 cockroach shells vanished from his inventory grid, the blueprint dissolved, and a new icon appeared. A neatly folded set of dark brown carapace armor. He tapped the icon, and 2 small words popped up beside it. Equip. How user-friendly, Linbei muttered to himself. He'd assumed he would need to put each piece on one by one, so the system skipping that tedious step saved him plenty of trouble. He selected Equip, and the armor materialized on his body in an instant. The armor bore a deep umber hue, covered in fine, uneven textured ridges that felt smooth yet rock-hard to the touch. The breastplate was a single curved sheet of chitin molded to the ribcage and sternum, stretching from beneath his collarbones down to his lower abdomen. The bracers wrapped tightly from wrist to elbow, leaving full range of motion for his hands. Thigh guards shielded the front and sides of his legs, covering everything from above the knees to the hip bones, while his knees and calves remained exposed. The most striking feature sat on his back. 6 folded razor claws pressed flush against the rear plate, each roughly as long as an adult human forearm. When retracted, they blended into the armor's ridges, easy to mistake for mere decorative detailing if one did not look closely. Linbei rolled his shoulders and hopped in place twice. The armor weighed far less than he'd anticipated. It barely restricted his movement at all. He practiced several sword swings. The breastplate and shoulder joints slid without friction, and the bracers never cramped his wrist mobility. Not bad at all, really great. As he stared down at the armor covering his frame, a sudden thought crossed his mind. This full set was crafted via blueprint, while his reforging system restored discarded junk. Could it rework gear created by the system itself? If possible, what would become of this green tier armor after one reforging? Would its quality rank rise? Would its protective coverage expand? Or would it unlock a brand new skill? Filled with eager curiosity, he turned to Nizana with a faint smile. Nizana, I'll send you a friend request. Accept it. Then put on this armor for an experiment I want to run. Huh. Nizana, who'd still been showering him with compliments, stared back utterly confused. You want me to wear it? Lord Linbei, are you joking? What kind of experiment are you planning anyway? Ding. Linbei has sent you a friend request. Accept? Nizana froze, eyes fixed on the floating text hovering before her, mouth hanging slightly agape. Linbei had added her as a friend, the same man who'd called her dirty, foolish, and nothing but a winner. And now he'd reached out to connect with her voluntarily. He actually sent me a friend request. Her voice came out barely above a whisper. Does this mean he's finally acknowledged me? I'm so touched. Nazana, what are you spacing out for? Lin Bei's voice cut through her daze, edged with impatience. Hurry and accept my friend request. Jolted back to reality by his sharp tone, Nazana fumbled to tap accept. The second the request went through, another system alert flashed. Lin Bei has gifted you the cockroach carapace armor. Put the armor on. I need to test something. A flicker of unease stirred inside Nazana, yet she chose not to press for details. She knew asking questions would get her nowhere, so she opened her inventory and tapped the armor icon, revealing the equip prompt beside it. She selected the option, and the full set materialized over her body instantly. The armor fit her frame completely differently from how it suited Lin Bei. The breastplate automatically reshaped its curve to contour her figure, the rigid chitin cinching tight to accentuate her waistline. Nazana glanced down at herself and spun once on the spot. Before she could marvel at how perfectly it fit, she looked up to see Lin Bei draw his katana. Stand still and don't move, Lin Bei ordered, stepping 2 paces closer with the blade in hand, his tone flat and neutral. I'm testing the armor's defensive strength. If you flinch and make me miss, I won't take responsibility for any cuts. Nazana's excitement instantly melted into stark terror. She stumbled backward 2 steps, waving her hands frantically in front of her torso. Lord Lin Bei, you aren't seriously going to. She never finished her sentence before Lin Bei cut her off, annoyed. Stay put. Didn't you say you'd do anything as long as I don't drive you away? Right now I just need to test this armor. Don't twitch, or I can't guarantee where the blade lands. Tears welled up in Nazana's eyes at his words. She would obey him, but standing motionless while someone swung a sword at her was more than she could bear. Seeing her miserable, teary-eyed expression, Lin Bei softened his tone a little. What are you scared of? This is green tier armor, and my katana has no quality rating. Relax, I won't strike with full force, just carve a few shallow marks into the plating. Her rigid posture eased slightly at his reassurance. She squeezed her eyes shut tight, her lips trembling, her voice thick with suppressed sobs. Promise you won't hurt me, okay? Lin Bei ignored her plea. Gripping the hilt firmly, he twisted his wrist and slashed horizontally at her waist. He only used 30% of his strength, purely for safety. Thud. The blade collided with the chitin armor with a dull, heavy thud. It felt like cleaving a kitchen knife into thick, hard plastic. The sword bounced upward off the shell, leaving the armor completely unbroken. Ah! Nazana shrieked and flinched, then cracked one eye open shakily to stare at the strike point on her hip. Only a faint pale scratch, no wider than a toothpick, marred the surface. Lin Bei stepped forward, ran a finger over the scratch, and nodded in approval. Decent durability. One more strike, stand still, Nazana. Why another one? Nazana's newly relaxed shoulders tensed right back up. Before she could protest, the second slash came down, this time with 50% of his full power. Thud. The impact against the shell boomed louder than the first blow. The blade skidded half an inch sideways on contact, carving a far more noticeable pale white streak. Ah! Nazana screamed again, opening her eyes to inspect the fresh mark on her waist. I'm fine though. Lin Bei leaned in to run his finger over the new scratch. It cut deeper than the last, yet the armor sustained 0 actual damage. Good, one final test strike. All right, bring it on. This time Nazana did not whine or shake, watching the blade in his hand with unexpected calm. Thud. The third slash landed at 80% strength, aimed at her lower abdomen. The recoil from the blow traveled up the hilt and into Lin Bei's palm, numbing the base of his thumb slightly. The sword bounced violently off the armor, leaving the deepest pale indentation of the 3, yet nothing more. Lin Bei traced the thickest scratch with his fingertip, then ran his palm across the unbroken surrounding chitin. That's enough testing. The verdict was clear. This unranked katana might as well be a wooden stick against the cockroach armor set. Even 80% power bounced the blade cleanly. A full-strength swing would only send the sword flying, possibly injuring his own wrist in the process. Nazana exhaled a huge breath of relief at his words, brushing a hand over the deepest scratch on her stomach plating. After confirming her skin beneath the armor remained unharmed, she wiped away the unshed tears clinging to her lash line. All right, Nazana, take the armor off and send it back to me. Nazana felt as if a massive weight had lifted off her shoulders. She quickly stowed the armor back into her inventory and sent it to Lin Bei via the gift function. Once the transfer completed, she lowered her voice to ask, Lord Lin Bei, which direction should we head next? Lin Bei closed his system panel at her question and scanned their surroundings. Mountains of garbage stretched endlessly in every direction, shrouded in murky yellow smog that blurred the horizon into a hazy blur. Damn this dump, No road signs, no markers of any kind. How am I supposed to know which way to go? As he silently complained, a popular online saying popped into his mind. When you're stuck on an unsolvable problem, pass the question back to the person who brought it up. That way, the problem ceases to be yours. He twisted to face Nizana. You're the one who asked where we should go, so you decide. Pick our next direction. He had two reasons for this choice. First, he truly had no clue which path to take. Second, Nizana possessed bizarre luck. Last time, she'd fled a horde of cockroaches in blind panic, only to crash straight into him, saving her life and gaining her a protector. Shortly after, she tripped and fell over a water filter half buried in waste. Then she'd been chased while relieving herself. This led them straight to an entire nest. That nest let him slay over 50 roaches, dropping this full armor set and piles of valuable materials. Every disaster for her translated into massive gains for him. The water filter was her find, the cockroach nest discovered by her, and even the raw materials for this armor traced back to her accidental misfortune. Her bad luck acted like a compass. Wherever she stumbled into trouble, valuable resources waited. Nizana gaped at him, utterly stunned. She never imagined the man who treated her like a sidekick would let her choose their path forward. She stared at Lin Bei for several long seconds, verifying he was not mocking her, swallowed hard, and glanced nervously out at the endless waste mounds. Every direction looked identical, trash heaps stacked atop one another, crows circling overhead, flies buzzing nonstop. I can't even tell east from west, and Lord Lin Bei's letting me pick our route? Is he being serious? He doesn't seem to be joking, though. Oh well, no use overthinking. If he wants me to choose, I'll just point at random. She lifted a hand, twirled her index finger through the air twice, then squeezed her eyes shut and jabbed blindly toward one stretch of garbage hills. That way.